I am Katharina Michio, and you are watching NYMania.
I'm Kayla Welsh, and you're watching NY Yankee Mania.
Hi, my name is Maria Venuto, and you are watching New York Yankee Mania.
I'm Marnie Schneider. I'm the author of Football Freddy, and I am so excited to be part of the New York Yankee Mania show.
Hey, everybody, it's Ian Eagle. You are watching NY Yankee Mania, the best.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. This is a very special and important show that we're going to run here at NY Yankee Mania. Usually, when you come tune into our show, we like to have fun. We like to talk about stats, sports, games, and stuff like that, which is also an amazing thing to talk about. But tonight, this is going to be a very special show. Deal with mental health awareness, signs of mental health. We're going to share stories about mental health, stuff that has affected us, friends, and family. A lot of people are affected with this issue, and we want to bring attention to it. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure both you and your loved ones are safe. We don't want you to make a decision in life where it's irreversible. We don't want you to make a decision in life where somebody else may be hurt for the rest of their life because of your decision. We want you to know that you matter, and that's what this panel is going to be about. It's Friday night. A lot of people are going to go out tonight and have a good time. They're going to enjoy it. It's Friday night. It's the weekend before a major holiday. But there's also going to be people who are going to not go out because they are saddened, they're depressed, either because of genetics, issues, past trauma issues that are causing them to feel this way, and they're not going to go out and have a good time. They might be in a dark room, in bed, very sad and depressed thoughts, maybe thinking about doing something that's irreversible. And we don't want that. We want to let you know that you're loved. I'm just going to go through the panel and just let everybody introduce themselves. First, I'm just going to go to one of the people who kind of helped come up with this idea, and a very important person, and somebody who I got a lot of respect for and love for, and that's Victor. I'm going to let him just go first, introduce himself, give a quick little snippet, and we'll go across, and then from there, we'll talk about, stories and stuff like that. So, Victor, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Johnny. Great, fantastic opening. Very well said. Again, this is a great panel I'm looking at here. The stories are tough. I'm even having a little bit of emotion right now, just thinking about what subjects are about to be talked about. I'm born and raised in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Had good parents, raised Italian, Roman Catholic. Things were different back then. I'm going to start when we're ready to go with stories. I'm going to start, unfortunately, in like 1973, when I guess I was first introduced to something different in life other than, Grandpa passed away because of a heart attack. But this is as real as it possibly can get. And everyone on this panel that's about to share, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to pass it on over to Chef, and we'll go from there. Thank you, guys, again.
Well, good to see everyone. Everyone, welcome. Johnny, Victor, always great seeing you guys. Aman and Jordan and Nate, good to see you guys as well. Thank you very much. And Aiden too, man, thank you for joining us as well. We have a lot of stories to tell tonight, a lot of experience to say as well too. I won't say mine yet, but I just wanted to pretty much say welcome, guys. And I think that go more like less around the room just to introduce yourselves and just pretty much just in case if people don't know who you are. I know who all you are, so. But I appreciate your time, your energy to joining us, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. So thank you, guys. So.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through the panel, sure. Just the way it's displayed on there. So Aman Green, if you want to go next, you're more than welcome to.
He's muted.
He may not have heard me. So now I'll just go down to the next column, to Jordan Grant. If you could just quick little snippet, introduce yourself. I know who you are, but maybe there might be some people in the chat who just be stumbling upon. You could just give us a quick snippet.
Yeah, no problem. Can everybody hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. My name is Jordan Grant. I'm from New London, Connecticut. I played basketball overseas in Dominican Republic. I played in a league called the TBL for about 5 years. I played slam ball. I come from a great family as well. I'm excited to tell my story once the time comes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Nate?
Yeah, my name is Nate Wheeland. Grew up in Iowa City, Iowa, where I was born and raised. Still got all my family there. Played for the New England Patriots for a couple years, and then finished up my professional playing career down in the UFL in Texas, playing for the San Antonio Brahmas. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on. Excited to share some stories later down the road, and hopefully I can help out, whoever's in need.
Adam?
How you doing, guys? Adam Gossett. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia. Came over to the States, went to Georgia Tech, and then ended up making it to the NFL. And I played 10 years. Current free agent, about 4 teams. But yeah, super excited to be on here and talking about mental health and sharing my story a little bit. I think it's something us guys don't do enough is like get together and talk about, stuff that we're dealing with, emotions, feelings, what's going on in our lives, situations. So being able to share our stories and, realize we're not alone in a lot of the feelings that we're experiencing, is pretty important. So yeah, excited to be on here and be able to share some of that with you.
Thank you. We got a mod yet?
I don't know if he got. I'm gonna write something in the private chat. Maybe he might be able to see that. Adam, you actually hit a real important part. Especially just at least on the male side of things. As men, it's kind of seen as to hide emotions and not want to talk about it. And we're starting to see more now. More recently, we're starting to see where it's okay to talk to others and say, this is how I'm feeling and stuff, and express, if we're feeling sad, express that to others. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if anybody feels, you want to be the macho man and stuff, you're still tough. It doesn't mean you're not less of a man to talk to someone else and say, hey, listen, this is how I'm feeling. I'm saddened by this, or this is affecting me a certain way. It's only going to help you in the long run. So don't be afraid to talk. You can talk to your friends, family. If you want to go see somebody who's on a professional level, go do it. Because at the end of the day, it's the best for you.
Yeah, can you hear us? Can everybody hear us?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll start it off. Well, Johnny, thank you very much. To this day, I'm seeing a therapist. I had 2 therapists. I had to fire, believe it or not, but I'm still seeing one. And there's a lot. I'm going to keep this short so everyone can have a chance to talk. But it's there's no shame. There's no rhyme or reason, or just just to hide it, where it's like, oh well, or even just to post it on Instagram or social media, like, hey, I'm seeing a therapist, look at me. I mean, it's this is real life, man. It's this is something that you're trying to invest in yourself, and believe it or not, you're paying for a therapist depending on the health insurance that you have, but you're investing in yourself and you're trying to get better in many ways through what you're going through. Look, dude, like I'll say this later on, but like I am going through a lot and have been going through a lot. So especially in the cooking world too, it doesn't add to that, it adds to more. But seeing a therapist is very beneficial, no matter what you're going through, because it's just seeking help in that aspect towards, I want to get better. You can get better in your own self. You can do your self meditation and stuff like that, but you need guidance. You really do. You need someone to guide you in that direction to get better. And it's so many people in the world are we all have our problems in many ways, and these problems are eventually they're going to be our strengths, and I'm still going through that too. It's like 4 years since COVID, actually 6 years. It's just it's been really bad. It's been really bad, but seeing a therapist sort of, and you have to do that work. And I don't want to say you have to. It almost seems like you're doing extra work. You would want to. I like to change the have tos to you would want to, because you want to do this like because you want to do it for yourself, not you're forced to. So a lot of the vocabulary has to be changed as well. So you would want to change your behavior regardless of what it is. And just to scratch the surface, it's seeking someone for help. It's very beneficial. And who cares what anyone says? Like, I don't care what anyone says. If someone says, oh, just hypothetical. I'm saying if anyone says anything like, oh, you're seeing someone, you need a therapist, or you're weak, you know what? Then that person, I can say many things, we're a PGR channel, man. PG, but PGR, not rated R. But I could say something a lot rated R along those lines to that person. But I think, if we're going to benefit ourselves, we're going to be better ourselves in every way, then who cares what anyone says? It's up to us. It's up to ourselves to pretty much do the work, want to do the work, and get better in every way, regardless of what it is. And again, I'm only scratching the surface. I'm not going deep yet. But I think with just talking about seeking help and getting a therapist, there's nothing wrong with that. I've been doing that for a long time, and I don't care if I said it to anybody or didn't or kept it private. I'm still doing it, and it's helped. It's still a struggle, but it's helped. But I don't care. I really don't care. Again, I don't care what anyone else thinks, because in the long run, they'll be there for you, whoever it is. Like, if someone really cares, they'll be there for you if they say they will. But it's up to you to change your ways. But again, that's still really hard. So I just want to put it out there, just to have that open discussion. So,
no,
Yes.
very well put. Hopefully everybody's hearing us okay. I think Ahmad is having some issues, but everybody else is good now. Everybody else can hear everybody.
The only person I can hear is Chef.
Okay,
Oh,
Jordan
really?
said, okay. Everybody else can hear everything, right? Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
could
gonna
hear him, but now it's dropped out. I can just hear Jordan now.
Okay, can you hear me, Adam? I guess
I
he
can hear you,
can't.
Victor. I can.
You can hear me, Nate? Okay.
Yep. I got you.
Actually, my question was going to go to you. You said you're in Iowa, kind of remote, kind of small towns, kind of everybody knows everybody. It's life on the farm. Again, that's not an easy life. And when did like something like this, like someone, I don't know what YouTube's going to do to us tonight. So I'm just going to just say, well, when someone would self-delete themselves, we'll say, what is the vibe like in a small kind of type community, or just that rural like farming area, just like nowhere America almost? Is what kind of attention does it get? Is it like a small article in the newspaper or something? Does it make big? Or what was the vibe like as you were growing up in that environment?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I mean, I think it is a very tight-knit community. I mean, everybody kind of knows everybody. And it was a blessing and a curse. I think people felt very comfortable and always felt that they could go to somebody. And when they needed help, they never felt like they had to hide anything. But at the same time, I think on the surface shows a completely different aspect of somebody than what's going on, on the inside. Yeah, it definitely does strike a chord throughout the whole community. I mean, it does bring people together though, and it brings light to it. And I think the more attention, obviously when something like that happens, you wish, you always put out yourself like, oh, why didn't I, reach out to them? Why didn't I check on them earlier? But the reality is, like, it's hard for some individuals to own up to it when it shouldn't be. And I mean, I wish it wasn't that way. I wish, people accepted it in the like society more, that it is all right to speak up about mental health. If you're going through something, I mean, there's somebody there for you, friends, family, therapist, whatever. There's somebody there. And so when something like that does happen, I mean, it does strike a chord in the community. It does kind of bring light to the topic of mental health. Um, and I would say it probably rings true in a smaller, I mean, I've lived in different places. I've lived in, up in Boston, down in Dallas, Texas, Orange County, California. I would say the small town, it probably gets more attention because it's just a tight knit community. Everybody feels like they knew them. So
Right.
being able to just kind of get ahead of it is something that like I'm trying to actively, do as well. Make sure I reach out to people, even when I don't think anything is wrong, even when like on the surface everything seems fine. It's never the case for anybody. Everybody's got their own battles, challenges, demons that they're fighting. So like, yeah, I'm making it, a goal of mine going forward that, mental health is real. Let's make it an acceptable thing. Let's talk about it more. Like, we don't have to hide this. I think the more we bring it to light, the more attention it gets, the more it becomes, it's all right to talk about it. It's all right to have these issues. Like, let's just work through it together. Everybody's going through it.
That's a fantastic answer, and thank you for sharing that. Adam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Adam, I'm going to pose the same question that I did to Nate, only instead of a small rural area somewhere, nowhere, America, you grew up literally down under. What kind of vibe is it in another part of the world, man? Can you bring us to some,
growing up in Australia, really you didn't really hear about mental health much. I know kind of over the last few years, I think it came out that like Australia has like one of the highest suicide rates in like men, like middle-aged and like 20-year-olds plus, and a lot of it's mental health because a lot of them, we start drinking pretty young in Australia. You get exposed to like drugs and things like that, and that's when like, if people are doing drugs, you're drinking, your brain's not fully developed, you're going through depression, anxiety, all these other things start creeping in. And then, you've got these issues, whether they're alcohol related, drug related, or just like things happening in your life that are beginning to overwhelm you. But you don't want to seem, weak, or you don't want to seem like you don't have your stuff together to your friends, to your family, things like that. And I think a lot of guys hide that or use those vices to it's like to basically shield them from the reality of what the situation is. So yeah, there's a big issue, with it in Australia, especially with like athletes and stuff dealing with a lot of pressure, whether that's from home or from their sport, and then socially what's going on. But yeah, I think, the first thing that I've kind of realized was just being honest with yourself. It's okay to not be okay. That's a big thing. And so many people like don't want to admit that they're not okay, which is crazy because it's, that's going to drive you crazy when you're battling yourself and being honest. If you can't be honest with yourself, like it's really hard for people to help you. Just to piggyback off Nate a little bit there, like, if you're not even honest with it, other people around you don't even know how to approach you, or they might see something's wrong with you, but when they ask, you're just saying like, no, it's cool, like I'm fine or whatever. And it kind of like closes that door. And even if I ask you every day and the response is like, no, I'm fine, no, I'm fine. Those people, like teammates of mine, friends of mine, they're going home and they're dealing with this stuff by themselves instead of saying, you know what, I'm not okay. Let's just chat. Or, are you able to help me through like a situation, or even just give the advice of like seeking help, and it can be something. So like Nate was saying too, it's like not only when things are going wrong in your life, or there's things that aren't lining up. But it's like, even when the things are good, I have a therapist as well that I talk to, and um, literally it's like I do it as like a check-in thing where it's like, okay, I know I started this journey a few months ago with this lady, and I want to be able to check in weekly with her and make sure, like, hey, I'm on top of my stuff. Like, how'd that thing go that I was working on last week? Oh, good. This was my mindset through it all. This was this. Being able to just like talk through what's really happening and having someone who's like a neutral perspective. We bias ourselves into whatever we want it to feel like or think like, and now and your family can do that for you as well. Like if you try to talk to family members or your partner, sometimes there's so many like lingering things, but to just have someone who's kind of neutral in that conversation can just kind of give you a different perspective and say, well, if you look at it like this, or if you just think of it like this, or some tools that maybe they can have before you like try to approach a problem or work through something, that's really helpful. But yeah, I'd say like a large community, it makes it, it has pros and cons. There's a lot more people that you can relate to and bounce things off. But also the cons are that you might feel like you don't belong like in all these people, and that can mess with you too. But yeah, I definitely think, I'd probably say I've been using like therapists and stuff probably over the last, 8, 9 years. Probably would have helped to use some earlier, but it probably wasn't, I wasn't probably looking for it hard enough. It was there. But yeah, whether it's sports psychologists or, just therapists that are outside of the team, I think using like a lot of people that you can just feel vulnerable with, that you can feel open with, that's big. And, sometimes it's just like you just need to talk, and that's what they're there to just listen. And, they might not, get a word in for 30 minutes because you're just kind of going from subject to subject, ranting and just getting some of that stuff out of you. But every time I talk to like a therapist, I feel 10 times better afterwards, even though nothing's been done action wise. It's just being able to like compartmentalize those thoughts and put them in little boxes and say, okay, well, what can I handle today? What can I deal with now? And then give you tools for when other things arise, what's available. So I think it's super important. And for us men, we like have been programmed from like a young age to feel like, we have to hold all these emotions in. I think females, they've always like had that emotional, stuff in their body where they're able to talk to others. It's always like if girls are going through stuff in high school, they're always sitting down in groups and talking. If a guy's going through something in high school, he kind of keeps it to himself because he doesn't want his friends to know and, be all vulnerable. And, you're not this like tough guy, or you're not this guy that can't handle like whatever. But the truth is, like, being able to be emotional, being able to be vulnerable, it might help you, but it's also going to help the guy next to you. It's going to help your friends, because then they're going to say, well, shoot, Adam's being open, he's being vulnerable. That's someone I can trust, that's someone I can share with, that's someone I can, relate to or reach out to, and to say, hey, dude, like, I'm going through it a little bit. Like, you're able to like give me some guidance or just point me in the right direction. So, it's just such a big thing right now, the mental health. And I think it's like only going to get better if like guys like us can all come out and talk about it and show that it doesn't matter what you're doing, who you are, where you are in life, it's all affecting you differently. And, just being able to have people help you through it.
Fantastic answer. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Do we know what's going on with Ahmad and Jordan? But Johnny, I'm going to throw it back to you. If you got some questions for these guys.
Yeah. If I could just add one thing too, and Adam, he hit the nail on the head. Especially as men, we're kind of brought up to like not show our emotions and not to want to talk to others. And it doesn't make you less of a man to do that. You're still a man to talk to somebody else and know, hey, this is how I'm feeling. So never feel less of a man for that. So that was perfect what you just said. Jordan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. First of all, I just want to say, I know you're from New London, Connecticut. I was born and raised in Connecticut as well. So I just want to say, as a fellow Nutmegger, a lot of respect.
Dope, likewise.
Yes. So I don't know if you want to just, elaborate and kind of like speak your piece on, mental health or any experiences you had or anything like that, if you want to add to it.
Yeah, I think that what Adam said is big, just having a community, and somebody to talk to. Like even where I'm at right now and dealing with mental health for as long as I've been dealing with it, if I didn't have anybody to talk to, I'll probably explode. And I remember the biggest like kind of, I guess you'll say, crisis of mental health I had is before my first pro tryout. I was like talking to this girl, um, and I was like staying at her house, like close to where my trial was, like my workout with the team was. And the night before, a guy broke into the house and like ended up stabbing me in my hand. So the night before the trial, I couldn't really go to it. I had to get like nerve reconstructive surgery. It was just terrible. So from that experience, it was like starting to get into the peak of COVID after that. So the season didn't start. So it was just like a bunch of things at once. Finally, they brought the season back. I ended up playing on the team, thank God. And I ended up getting cut. And after I got cut, I was like homeless for a little bit. So all that like together was like a experience for me. And I think the biggest part of me like finding myself and finding my mental health during that time was just getting back in touch with my relationship with God. I tried to seek therapists. I tried to talk to therapists. I couldn't really relate to them, and it didn't seem like it was just working for me. But my brother at the time had entered my life and just was like entering, like open to his relationship with God. He was like showing me his relationship. So I was going through that walk with him. And I think that did like a lot for me. So the two biggest things that helped me the most with mental health was really, again, just having a community to talk to with my brother, my sister, and then.
Oh no.
Yep, I think we lost him. Oh,
Damn.
I don't know if I lost you guys or not.
Just at the last.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, last 20 seconds, half minute, we lost.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't think you hear us.
It's live. Yeah, technical issues. All right.
So, I mean, until he comes back, Victor, if I can just throw it back to you, if you want to just elaborate, share your story. You're one of the biggest parts why we did this show. I know me and we spoke, said this would be a real important thing to do. So if you want, you can go ahead at any point. If you want me to step in, I'm here for you, bro.
Yeah,
Same here.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm sorry we lost Jordan at the last minute there, but like I said in the beginning, I'm 62. I grew up, early 60s. Asbury Park was, man, it was Atlantic City. That you went to Atlantic City because you couldn't get into Asbury during the 70s, the boardwalk and everything. And it was 1973. I remember it because in 72, I had just lost my my grandfather, my dad's dad. And even though it's a kind of a city, 1 square mile and everything, everybody kind of knows everybody, especially within the city workers. My dad was a city worker for over 38 years and knew the cops, knew the fire department, and everything. Anyway, we had just started school that season, so it was the first weekend we had off. And well, it was about somewhere on Saturday morning. My dad was a bartender, so it was quite early, 3:30. And I remember I heard him come in, but next thing I know, my mom was crying. So I went out and, I was like, what happened? And he's just like, a close friend of the family had passed away, and He told me who it was. I'll keep their names out of it. It's like, oh wow, that's pretty heavy. And we went to school that Monday. I was in third grade at the time, so it was Sister St. Richard. We opened them regular as prayer, and then she proceeded to tell us exactly what had happened over the weekend. Now, my dad said a family friend had passed away, told us who. Lo and behold, what had happened is older brother is 1 grade ahead of me, younger brother is 1 grade behind me, and I think the youngest brother was just about ready for kindergarten. Their mother had enough, woke all the kids up, put them on the couch, kissed each one, said goodbye, put a gun to her head, and that was the end of it. Right in front of all 3 kids. Sister St. Richard explained that to us as a mortal sin. That's something you don't do. That's a mortal sin. I was like, wait a minute, somebody passed away. Grandpa had a heart attack. She's telling us, like, your mind's blown as a child. And I went home and I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, what really happened? And my mom explained it to me as she just snapped. She snapped. That was the word used. She snapped. I guess looking back on it now through all the education, I guess this is what you would call postpartum. Having 3 children that close in the 60s, 70s. The most ironic part about it is her husband at the time was the acting chief of police. So when the story hit the papers, it was insanity. So I'm holding on to this as a lesson in life. Okay, it's a mortal sin to do that. Well, I can't do that because I'm not going to commit a mortal sin. So I'm going to fast forward a couple years. This is where it gets rough. We had a close friend, me and my buddy. It was mischief night, and I'm going to say it was 83. And we had a friend. He was who he was, man. We called him DB, Pat. And he was quite the character. When I say musically talented, guys, this guy could play shoelaces, write a song in 3 seconds. He was just a gift for music. He liked his LSD at a very young age. This is his senior year. Breaks up with his girlfriend, takes it extremely hard. Shows zero emotion about any of this. So he comes to the party. Anyway, he had a tradition that he would go into the kitchen, and off to the kitchen there was a small bathroom, just a sink and a toilet and a small window. And actually the window was about maybe 8-foot drop to where the walkway was on the side of the house. He used to go lock the door out the window all the time. And Robert and me would have to go out to the alley. He'd lift me up. I'd crawl to the window because you could see I'm a small guy. I was the only one that could get through the window to unlock it. And that drove Robert absolutely crazy. Lo and behold, mischief night, he does it. And we're mothering him. Man, I'm tired of this, whatever. It was a Halloween party. We're all dressed, whatever. Saturday morning, Robert comes over to the house to pick me up. My dad walks in and says, "You guys got a minute?" Yeah, like, what's up? And he says, your buddy, Pat, he killed himself last night. We're like, whoa, what are you talking about? What do you mean? He was just with us. Pat's way out was pretty intense, guys, so buckle up. Pat left our house, crawled out the window, went to his house, picked up a 6-pack of Guinness, got on his 10-speed, went to his father's house. Again, his father was a police officer. Grabbed his father's rifle, headed down to the railroad tracks, put his bike around a telephone pole, went up on the trestles, and he waited for the next train. Just before the train hit him, he put the rifle in his mouth. That was the end of him. And that was a tough one. We didn't know how to handle that. Now we're beyond mortal sin, man. This is a guy we just saw literally, guys, 2 hours before the bullet went off. No emotion, leaving the house, laughing, having a great time, and did what he always did to piss us off. And I guess we handled it the way we knew how at that time. We just prayed to God, prayed hard to God. And me and Robert, right after the funeral, drove down to the cove, just looked out on the ocean. The ocean is an amazing tool to you. It really is. It's an amazing tool. But we grabbed our airplane bottles and toasted Pat, threw them out the window. We lit up, and it was quiet for a minute. And I remember Robert saying, I could never do it, man. I could never do that to myself or to my family. And he looked over at me, and he used to call me Serge. And he said, Serge, what about you, man? And guys, I'm not exaggerating. This is literally what came out of my mouth. I said, I could never do it because I need to know what the hell the Yankees are going to do at the end of the year. So count me out, man. I can't. Yeah. And it was a moment to laugh, but I reflect back on it. I'm like, why is that the only thing I said at that moment? And then I thought about it. Sports was a great relief back then. Music was insane, you know. Everything relied on the ocean and music to me, just to get out of the dark spot. Then it started to wear off. But I'm going to leave it there. But I do have, 2 more stories to share. But I can only take that much right now because, thinking back on them days and thinking I had somebody literally right here in my face all night having a great time, and you got a closed casket 3 days later. That's how insane mental health happens. We never knew Pat to be like that, but the pressure of life, I guess, ahead of him, we could never really figure out the exact reason. But the way he plotted it and did it, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I always thank God for Robert, being with me through that. I'm sure he was here, he'd say the same thing. We got through it together. No outside, no going to mom and dad. No, we just talked it out, I guess, between me and him, because I guess that was our friend. So I don't know. But I'm going to leave it there. But I do have a couple other things I'll share later, man. But anybody, feel free.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
Just something you also will see, just because somebody might seem well or they present themselves as they are okay, it doesn't mean that they are. Some people are really good putting on a poker face, and they might show, oh, I'm fine, but you would never know. And that's one of the things with mental health. And it's kind of scary. Just like Victor said, it was just one moment there with his friend, and then next, that tragic event. And it's a very scary thing. One thing that have seen,
Thank you.
close to me,
Have a good day.
with friends and family, is what they will do is to mask that feeling, or to make the feelings go away, is they will self-medicate. So they will take, they'll drink, use drugs, they'll go out, they'll party, and end of the day, it doesn't help. It's just pinning a Band-Aid over a wound, and it just gets worse. And I've seen that, firsthand with people around me. Used to go out, promote for parties and stuff. I would see people firsthand do that, and you think they're just having a good time. No, they were just, self-medicating. And next thing you know, they're no longer here. And I've lost friends to that, and it hurts. So if you see something like that, just always talk to somebody. Just let them know, hey, I'm here for you anytime you want to talk. And that might be, just saying that might just spark something in them where they will prevent themselves from doing something harmful to themselves or others. So just that conversation is key to maybe saving a life, or causing harm to others. I don't know if you can hear me, Jordan, but I know you got cut off a little sooner. I don't know if you want to continue your story, but if you would like to, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, can everybody hear me now?
I can hear you.
I
Perfect.
can hear you fine. Yes.
Okay.
I got you,
Sure.
Crystal.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So basically, I don't know where I got cut off originally, but yeah. So the night before my tryout, a man broke in the house, stabbed me, and I prayed to God that night. I kind of wasn't even really in faith like that. I just prayed that, I kind of won't retaliate if I still have an opportunity to play this following season. And while I was in the hospital, the coach called me and said whenever I hit up, like he'll still want me to work out for the team, which was a blessing. So probably about 2 months later, I worked out for the team. And it went well. I made the team. So I'm playing with the team, like living in New York. I'm based out of New York at the time. And, I'm in a 3-bedroom apartment with my cousins. So I'm telling my cousins, like, look, I'm coming back after my season. Like, don't sell my room. I know it's hard in New York, but, just keep my room. So I'm playing on the team and eventually get cut early from the team. I come back early. And sure enough, my cousins, like, sold my room. So I was like kind of sleeping on the streets. Went back to working a job at a gym called Chelsea Pierce. So I would like try to work as many shifts as possible, really just like try to close and try to open. So sometimes I'll sleep at the gym, and I could have went back home to Connecticut, but I also had a G League trial coming up like 3 months later. So really like through that process, it was like super lonely. Trying to figure out, where you're gonna sleep at night, what are you gonna eat, and just grinding for a bigger purpose and kind of losing myself. So again, fast forward time, like COVID hit. And like I said, my brother was a big part of my life during this time when everything just seemed like it was going bad, and he just opened his relationship to God to me. And I kind of found that relationship that way. So again, like Adam said, just having a community is a big part because again, if there was nobody I could talk to like my brother, I don't know where I would be right now. And fast forward a little more, probably about 4 months later, I had the biggest blessing of life, just staying positive. I ended up getting a call to play slam ball, which was something I never even really thought about doing. I don't know if you guys know what slam ball is, but it was on TV like 16 years ago. Then they ended up bringing it back. And that was probably the greatest experience of life to live. So in the same year, I seen like the very bottom and, just staying positive and growing my relationship with God. Later that year, I seen the best that I've seen this far.
Amazing. Awesome.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, love
It's
it.
always the relationship with God that seems to always be the first step. But
yeah,
Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Whatever your avenue is, if it's religion, something else you find in life, and I think that's beautiful. I'm not the most religious person, but I have nothing but respect for anybody who turns to that and uses that as a positivity to help them in life. Doesn't matter what your avenue is, if it's whatever the religion is, if it's going to help you and benefit you in your situation, I think that's beautiful. And I got nothing but love and respect for that. So I'm going to be shortly posting a few things on here. If anybody's listening, in the chat, or anybody is watching live, or if anybody comes across this video, if you give me a couple minutes, I'll be posting some numbers that you can call, or some things you can text if you're dealing with, depression, if you're not feeling well, just to help you, somebody to talk to. And you can always reach out to us here at YankeeMania if you're having that issue as well. I'm more happy to talk to anybody that's in the chat, anybody that views this video. If you just need somebody to talk to, just express your feelings, or if I have to help you, find the help that it is, I can point you in the right direction. I'm more than happy to do so. And I'm sure Chef Nick and also Victor is the same too, who's your here on the show. Chef Nick, is there anything else you'd like to add to your stories? Because I know with you, and I guess I can add it to it too once you're done. You work a lot of hours. So do I. And that can cause a lot of stress too on life and stuff. For example, like this week, I did nearly 80 hours in 4 days. A lot that can add to it if somebody isn't doing well in life. I know you work insane hours. So I don't know if you want to add to that as well.
Yes, I definitely do. I also want to go a little deep into why I became a chef. So I became this chef, this Greek chef, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it must have been generational family cooking." Like, no, it was on my own. So I was. Oh, here we go. I grew up in a dysfunctional home. I didn't have any parents. I raised myself. Me and my brothers raised ourselves. My parents were very abusive. So I chose the route that I took on my own. The humor, sarcasm. Guys, if you're listening right now, Jordan, like check out the channel. You'll know what I'm talking about. But like the sarcasm, the humor that I have on the show was made from because of me. It wasn't manufactured. It was all natural through me. So anything that happened throughout my life happened because of me. It wasn't because it was a dream to be a chef. It was manufactured at a certain age, whereas like I like this, it wasn't a dream because of my parents or my grandparents and so on. A lot of that, especially with the Greek community, according to Ancestry.com, I'm 98% Greek and then Persian 2%, Eastern European 1.1%, and so on and so on. But Greek, let's talk about that. A lot of the Greek community back then in the 80s and 90s, they were all close-knit, especially in New York too. So everyone was like, you need to do this. You need to study. You need to study 24 hours a day. You need to be smart. You need to become a lawyer. You need to become a doctor and so forth. You got to be better than our relatives. You got to be better than our neighbors. So this is everything that I was taught back then. And this is everything that I knew back then. But, you know, I lost my mom back in 98. I was really sad back then. Now, to be honest, I'm not. Got to say, I do have a father that I'm not talking to, lives in the same household. And so realistically, I didn't grow up with good parents and still have it. So me and my brothers who are close knit, that's all we have. We don't have any relatives. We have relatives in Greece that are fake. We don't talk to. Being real, guys, right? This is live. Here we go. So it's me and my brothers. We're pretty much just starting our own type of generation right now. So anything that's happening with chef things cooking, it's on me. It's not on generational, my grandparents and stuff like that, because honestly, they sucked at cooking and I was better than them. And I always will be better than them. It's not something a competition, but it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. So right now with working, sorry, Johnny, I had to do that intro in regards to long hours. So here we go.
You're good.
Long hours right now. So you have to have some craziness to be a chef. You have to have some craziness to have, and for me too, as a chef, I never yell. I'm always respectful to everyone in the kitchen. This is why a lot of people, whenever I do parties, they want to work with me. They want to work long hours with me because they know they can have fun. They know that they can get the job done. They're not fearful of me. And there's other people that throw pots and pans and just throw like the F-bombs and stuff like that. It's all ego. And it's like, and this is where it's like, I sort of like separate myself, whether it's with my family members and also with managers, authoritarian figures, as you want to call it. They're in the same type of deal. It's like, I want to better people that never bettered me. I'm sort of self-teaching myself and I'm learning from others. It's almost like sort of like growing up like on the streets in a sort of way where it's like you're raised by wolves, but you're self-teaching yourself. I'm not, you know, I don't want to be dramatic, but it's almost like you for me, like just, you know, just getting out of high school and going into the cooking world, it's, you know, you're seeing all these personalities and it's like you're picking apart all these personalities that you never nurtured in your childhood. So like I'm picking apart everything. I'm like, I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be that, but I specifically don't want to be my parents who gave me like this anxiety, this depression, all that stuff. Here I am talking about, I have a therapist right now. I fired two because, they weren't the right ones in a specific reason for my own. But just with the long hours, going back to that, it's sort of, I don't want to call it an escape where it's like, I'm glad I'm not home because I want to be with my parents. It's sort of weird how it's like, I don't want to call it an escape too, where it's like, I just want to be away from home. Home right now is my sanctuary. I made my home a sanctuary for myself, where it's like, when I come home, I want to decompress, whether it's an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever time I have. But the job is a job, and working long hours, naturally as a chef, it really takes a toll on yourself, where it's like, you want to do is just sit down. You want to take a breather and just not think about what you have to do tomorrow with what event. Like, you have to make it perfect. And the reason why I say have to, because I'm working for someone else. And I'm working towards that goal where it's like, I'm trying to be financially independent. When you're working for someone else in corporate, you're pretty much in tuned, and you're pretty much handcuffed to someone else, and it's not good. So you're pretty much waking up when they want you. You're staying there when they want you to. So this is one of the reasons why I'm trying my best to leave, and I'm getting to that goal. But it's the toll, the emotional toll, the physical toll, the mental toll, working 18 to 20 hours, coming home, sleeping 2 hours, getting up, waking up every hour, setting your alarm every hour on the hour to just in case that you didn't oversleep, to wake for someone else on just to go to a job that you're stressful about. It does take a toll, and you're missing out on a lot of things that you could be doing. And I'm trying my best to do my side projects, to do other things to benefit myself. But again, it's like, if you're doing all these things, such as these trainings for corporate, like sexual harassment trainings, or even like diversity trainings, like anything that goes along those lines, it's like and it takes like 2 hours to 5 hours. There's no need for that. So there's a lot. There's a lot more, man. I want to hear everyone's stories, but there's a lot more. I can go deeper if you want me to. I can. I don't care. But yeah, that's pretty much scratching the surface, as I said before. So
yes,
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
And I can also add to that too, with working the long hours as well. As you know, I travel across the country for my job. I'm not home during the week. I'm fortunate I can come home on the weekends and be home. But as of right now, I'm lucky. I'm in a mental state where if I wasn't, in a good spot, that can lead to depression. And there's people out there who are in the workforce who are away from home. They're not seeing their friends, they're not seeing their family, and they're working. And it's just adding more to the issue. And I'm sure both Adam and Jordan can also add to this as well. As you guys, as you're traveling, playing sports, on your teams and stuff, you're away from home. Especially Adam. I mean, you're in a whole nother country playing. You're away from home, a long way from home on the other side of the world. If you guys want to add to that.
Yeah, I think the being away from like your people and your comfort zone, is something that's really tough to like navigate. But like for me, when I came over and I went to college, it's on the other side of the world. The time difference was like 15 hours. So like, when it's 6 a.m. in the morning, it's 8 p.m. at night back home. So, I really didn't have, until I got in the locker room and I made friends on the team and some people that, I could call friends that weren't just like acquaintances and teammates and people that you work with or go to school with. I was kind of by myself a fair bit, and I found myself like wanting to just, be in my room or not be social and do those things. But those things just lead you to being with your thoughts even more. and those feelings. And especially if you don't have like the tools or the, the therapists or the people to share that with, even your family. It's different if I'm like, okay, I'm going back to my room, I'm talking to my family, I'm unwinding, I'm unpacking things, doing that. But when I'll just go back to my room and I'd kind of sit there in like this kind of like middle ground of like, I want to be going out, I want to be social, I want to be doing those things, but I just like, I wasn't there like mentally to do that. And then I wasn't also like mentally able to share with like the people back home with what's going on, because everyone's like, all my friends back home, my family's back home, but they're all looking at me like, dude, you're living this dream, you made it to college, and you got so many good things happening to you. But little do they know like the hard things that I'm actually going through. And I don't want to disappoint them, I don't want them to feel like sorry for me or anything like that, because they're so happy for me, they're so proud of me, that it's like I didn't want to seem like weak in front of them, like, oh man, I've got this like good opportunity, but I'm like mentally not able to handle it all, or whatever that is. And then a similar thing happened once I, spent 4 years at college. I had all these really good friends, and my crew of people. Atlanta felt like home to me. I knew the streets, I knew the neighborhoods, I knew everything, where you go to do everything. And then all of a sudden I get picked up by Denver, and now I'm in Denver, and it's like starting over again. I don't have my family there, still dealing with the time difference. It's like I've moved to a new city. All my friends now in college are like the ones that are messaging me being like, dude, I can't believe you made it. You're doing this, you're doing that. But to me, it was like, man, I was like going through depression because, I was injured. I wasn't physically able to like do what I wanted to do on the field my first year. I had a torn ACL. So then when I was there, I was like, damn, I'm like, just trying to get back to myself. I don't want the people around me to feel like sorry for me again. So like literally I'd go like days, like people texting me, my family texting me, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? How's work going? And I'd like leave them on red. I wouldn't reply for like 4 or 5 days. And then I'd be like, hey, mom, everything's good. Just been busy. Like, make some bullshit excuse. And then, just rinse and repeat that, like kind of just cornering myself off instead of like leaning into that. Those people are, reaching out to me for a reason, but I'd like push them away. I'd be like, I don't want to let you in. I don't want to show you like what I'm really going through. And I'd put this mask on, and, that lasted for like a good like 2 years. But it was like, it got to a point where like I just couldn't like deal with it anymore. And then, I was very lucky. Like, I ran into this guy who was he was trying to start up some like men's mental health and raise awareness for it. And I was able to just talk to him. Like, I just met him, I think it was through social media. And then like we just got talking, and he said he was out in Denver doing some stuff. So I was like, dude, like, let's go grab lunch. Like, he invited me out to lunch. So I was like, let's go have lunch. And like, I'm sitting, I've maybe talked to this guy like 3 or 4 times, but I'm like spilling my guts to him. I'm telling him everything, where I ended up like, I'm crying in front of this guy. I'm just letting it all out. And it was just like, damn, like I can just feel like it was so much weight off my shoulders. Like, cause I was like, damn, I can just be me, I can just let myself out of like, and not have to like, I can not have to like have this front on where I'm like, oh, I'm in the NFL, everything's like fine and dandy, when it really wasn't. And then as soon as I started doing that, like I started feeling better at work. I started producing better at work. I started feeling better when I get home from work. I'd start like a routine. Like, I started journaling. I started doing things like that, and just grounding myself in some things and being more vulnerable to myself and being able to express myself, whether it's just on paper or it's to people. I'm able to get those emotions and feelings out, and that really helped. And then, obviously, like, leaning into those relationships with like my family. I felt like there was a few years there where it was like I just kind of like cut them out, like, for nothing that they were doing, but I was like, I don't know, I just didn't want to disappoint them. They're obviously seeing me like kind of live out this dream, but like just the shame of being like, you know what, I'm not happy, and I'm kind of going through it. I feel like it would just be like disappointing, or I didn't want them to like worry about me and stuff like that. But you know, they're your family, they're your people. So like, you know, the more I started leaning into that, like, and what really helped was like I went through like a breakup with this girl that I was dating, and then I was able to just like talk to my brother like on some like real level stuff, like, you know, everything kind of since I'd gone to college, that relationship kind of like strayed a bit because I was busy doing my stuff, he's busy doing his stuff. But like literally I just remember like calling my brother and being like, look, like I'm kind of going through it, like I still have feelings for this girl, but you know, certain things have happened and I just don't know how to process it. And then he was like able to like talk me through some things, and just, you know, he went through a tough breakup too, so he was able to give me that advice. And then me and him got our relationship started growing again, and it's back to where a spot that's like awesome. And you know, same with my parents. And I've just realized like just be vulnerable with them, tell them what's going on, like because that they only care for you, they only want to love you and see you at your best. And it like it hurts them when they know something, you're dealing with something, but you just can't open up to them. So um you know, the long distance thing has been tough, but like, you know, 10, 15 years ago, it was a lot harder when I first came over. And I remember like, it was like Skype and things like that. Now it's like FaceTime, you can do all that. So it's been a lot better. And obviously just maturing through it, you know, I was 19 years old at that time. Now I'm, you know, 30 plus. So, you know, you got to go through some stuff. You have to, you know, deal with it yourself at times, but also realize that there are those people around you. And, you know, something that I try to do, you know, weekly or every couple, you know, 2 weeks is just like, if someone pops in my head that's I haven't talked to in a while, but there's something telling me like, hey, reach out to this guy. And just, even if it's a text just saying, hey, how you doing? Just thinking of you, man. What's been going on? You just never know what's going on in that person's life, but something in the universe is like telling you like just reach out to them. And it could be good, bad, in between, but you know, you're just given that olive branch, and if they want to grab it and they want to share and they want to go through it, you know, I think it's awesome. And I've had a fair few friends do that to me. And you know, I just look at those opportunities now and really embrace them, because it means people, you're in people's thoughts, you're in people's prayers, they care about you. um and it happens so much. Like we have our phones on us 24/7, so it's like, what's a 5-second text that could literally save someone's life? Because you just never know. And you know, someone can be dealing with some shit, and then all of a sudden my name pops up on a text, and they're just like, you know what, I'm gonna give into it, and I'm gonna text them back, I'm gonna start a conversation, and maybe be able to just like talk them off the ledge a little bit, you know, before they make a bad decision, just being able to like to help them, you know, navigate that and work through it. And yeah, I think the more vulnerable we are, the more open we are with our friends, our family, and our tight knit crew, the more respect we get, the more, you know, honest we can be with ourselves, with people. And you know, it all comes full circle. You know, if you do that to people, people will do that to you. And it's just like, the more you give, the more you will get given. And yeah, the more you can like spread that love, spread that positivity, that energy. It's just powerful stuff. So I really like get into a lot of that in my life. And you know, if I feel like someone needs me right now, I just reach out, and I just, you know, text them and just let them know, hey, I'm thinking of you, man. I hope everything's going well with you. Let's catch up next time you're around, or let's like set a lunch date. And that's the thing, like it's always like, you know, oh, we'll catch up next time and we'll go grab some lunch or something. But if you actually set the date, set the time, things like that, and be intentional with it, it works out a lot better. Because there's even times where I'm like to a friend, oh, I'm busy this week, let's just catch up next week. And then before you know it, 2 months has passed. And it's like, damn, like I should have just made the effort and grabbed a coffee with them and had that quick catch up, because you just never know. And
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's tough through text, but the more you can get in person and sit across from someone, you know, it lets them feel you, it lets them see you, lets them be vulnerable with you. And, you know, I've been very fortunate, like here in Jacksonville, there's a few Aussie guys that are over here that are, you know, deal with a lot of the same stuff. They're away from their family, away from where they grew up. But, you know, we can kind of connect in our community. And, you know, there's a few guys that I just catch up with every couple of weeks, and we can just talk. And, you know, one of them's running a restaurant down here, another guy's doing another thing. But it's like, you know, everyone's got stresses and shit pulling them everywhere, or just even stuff going on in their own life, family, kids. Like, the real life stuff that's affecting them, and not knowing how to deal with it. But even me, I've got two young ones now, 6 and 5, and I think I know how to parent, but there's some situations that come up that I have no idea about. So being able to just talk about that with people, sometimes like, oh, my kid's doing this, or where I'm feeling this way about where my kids are in school and things like that, or how do I go about doing this? And it's just being able to share some of those little anxieties and problems have always been it's like helped me way more than me just trying to sit here. And now it's like the list is just piling up of like things I need to do, things I'm just not doing. I'm avoiding. I'm finding an excuse. Not and I'm literally not doing anything. I'm like sitting here on the couch, but I've got this stack of things that I could be doing, but it's like I'm like self-sabotaging myself at times. So it's just the more I can meet these people, meet with my therapist, the more I can have those people like almost hold me accountable without like telling them like you're my accountability person. It's like, nah, I know, like if I went to lunch with Nick last week and I was telling him I'm going to do this, when I go to lunch with him in 2 weeks from now, he's going to ask me and say, hey, how'd that thing go? And I'm going to say, well, man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. I don't want to have to go to that lunch and be like, oh man, I just didn't do shit the last 2 weeks and felt bad about myself. And he'll be like, well, what were you doing? And it's like, nothing, sitting there on the couch. And he's like, what the fuck? So, it's just having those relationships where like those people can keep you grounded, can keep you, whole, and make sure you are on the right track.
I have a follow-up question to that. That was really interesting, and I love
Awesome.
that.
Yeah,
Absolutely awesome. Thank you for that. One question that I want to ask you that maybe could help me out or anyone else out is you have you have a stack of things that you could be getting into, but instead you sit on the couch. Let's just say like that connection. How do you get to that? How do you get to the important things without self-sabotaging yourself, procrastinating? Like how do you get yourself moving to pretty much get yourself productive, to get to those stack of things instead of saying I'll get to it later, I'll get to it tomorrow? That's not important enough, because to me, like I've been there where it's like, that's shame talking, where it's like I'm not good enough. You're speaking for yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm a piece of crap or something like it. Whatever the case is. But for that instance, how did you do that, or how do you do that in that case to pick yourself up and get to that stack of importance instead of self-sabotaging yourself on the couch? If you can hear me. You mean?
I think I can kind of speak on that a little bit.
Sure.
Absolutely.
For me, when I go through like that kind of feeling, there's like power in your tongue. So the things that you say to yourself and the things that you believe about yourself like holds value and holds weight.
Okay.
So I think like for me, whether it's journaling or just taking time to meditate, does like a lot for me, because when I'm feeling like heavy on myself or I'm feeling down on myself, I'll write something out, read it back to myself, and just like positive actions. And then you kind of feel like a sense of motivation to get up and do something. And also I know like I hold myself accountable because I know I can stack. Also I'll like leave sticky notes around my house for things for me to do. Just like little reminders like that kind of help me keep going.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Now, do you, for you to do that, do you have something, let's just say, in the back of your mind, or just whatever, saying that, no, you're not going to do that. You're just going to sit down. You're going to play video games. You're going to watch movies. You're going to relax. You're not going to do all the important stuff. Like, I'm just hypothetical. Is there any voice that's saying that, where it's like, no, don't do that. Just relax. You had a long day, whatever. But like, have you ever like just had that struggle itself? Like, is it like more or less like, let's go to the important things tomorrow, procrastinating, let's just say, let's just do what we want to do today, where it's like, just sit around and just watch movies and stuff like that, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying like, just avoidance, let's just say, pushing things towards the future. That's more important.
Yeah, I think that I like set out days where I know that I can be lazy, or times where I can be lazy, if that's what you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like mental reset is like necessary, because being burnt out is a thing. So if I know that there's days where, I'm fully loaded, and I know if there's a day where I have a little lighter load, I'll kind of make use of the days where it's a little lighter. So I'll be like, okay, this day I'm gonna, drink some wine or play a video game or watch a movie all day, and then the next day I'm back to it. So those days when even I have like a lot of stuff to do and I kind of, want to sit back, like there's usually a voice in my head like, okay, you should be doing this right now, or these are the things that you should be doing. So I think just making time for like those reset days and that rest is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, I got a question for you real quick, Jordan. It was terrible to hear about someone breaking into your house and you wind up getting hurt. If we take the whole NBA thing out of it, just the event, was it a combined thing? Were you able to separate the event? Like, okay, now I'm hurt. You got dropped. All right.
We can still talk.
Yeah, listen, man.
Yeah,
We got
my question was like, in that situation, I wanted to know, how did he separate the two events? Because that's like a double dose of, hey, not only did someone invade your space, the place you're supposed to be most safe, but then it turns out, I got this over here. Like you were saying, the stack of papers, things to do. Well, I can't do that because of this. But Jordan, you're back. Again, was that a combined thing? Was it just the combination of things just falling on, or were you able to separate that and kind of like more or less getting stabbed was more of anger and then more frustration on because you were hurt, especially being in your own home? I mean, how heavy is that? Like just going in with the thought of someone like that, you wind up getting hurt.
Was there a question for me?
Yeah, yeah, there was.
my bad.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to run through it real quick. I'm just wanting to understand how, if you were able to, or was it a combined, being like I said, take the NBA thing out of it, but somebody invading your home and you wind up hurt. Were you able to separate these two things, knowing that this led to that, but the event itself, how much was that on you and combined to everything else? Or was there a separation, or was it just an avalanche?
I think it's like different layers to the whole situation in general. So like one big thing that was like heavy was I was dating this girl at this time, not the time that it happened, but I was dating this girl at this time for a very long time, and me and her had just broken up, and I took that like very hard, that breakup. So it took me a lot to like finally trust another woman, and then this girl that I'm talking to was like finally the first woman that I've opened up to again. And then next thing I know, I'm looking at her house, and then a man breaks in. So that feeling was a lot in itself. And then just knowing like, really, I got stabbed in my hand. So the guy was like swinging a knife at me. I went to block my hand like this, and he split through my hand. So that experience, like, being a basketball player, I know you said like basketball side, but being a basketball player and like having your hand, sliced open is like, you're thinking like, all right, it's my career over. And like in that time, you kind of think about like, all right, if my career is over, like you kind of go through an identity crisis, which is good at the time, because I'm thinking about, okay, what am I going to do if I can never play basketball again? And that's things I never really thought about. So I feel like it was valuable to think about it at that time, because at any moment, I mean, God forbid, but your career could be over. You have to shift to whatever's next. And I feel like that's a problem that a lot of athletes have after their career is over. They go through identity crisis. So I feel like that experience, there was like a lot of things that were wearing on me mentally, but I feel like that was the most beneficial thing that came out of it, was kind of just knowing like, okay, that there's things that I have to be willing to do aside from basketball and not make that my sole identity.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ahmad, are you finally with us, Ahmad?
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I got delayed at the airport. My flight was supposed to land at 3:30. It landed at 5 something. So that's why I was on the phone listening in. I could hear everybody crystal. So I caught
Okay.
everything. So great shares for everybody. Chef Jordan, and was it Adam? That's Australian, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All that great stories. I'll say for me, man, it started early in my life. Like having to like it was started so early where I didn't even know that it was like, a mental thing that I had to deal with. It was just like I'm a kid, I'm 2 and 3 years old, and something happened. And then being a young mind, I'm Play-Doh. My brain is Play-Doh. So it's like I'm just reacting to it, and in a way that I say part of it was because of the way my mom raised me and my dad, and then my stepdad too, and then my brothers. It was just like, okay, something happened, then deal with it and then cope with it and learn how to get past it. That was kind of the process. My stepdad was an AA counselor, so I had it built in the house where it was always when our conversations would start when I was like 5 and 6 years old, it would be like almost sitting in one of those coaches meetings, Brian, Jordan, Adam, where we breaking down film. Like, all right, what happened today? What went wrong? You had a bad day, you had a good day. If it's a bad day, then okay, what went wrong? What did you do to initiate, or did you say something, or did you do something, or did you have a fight, whatever? So it was like I had to have my ducks in a row, talking to my stepdad, and so it taught me though. um Obviously that's where accountability, because I got to tell the truth. you know I couldn't come in there and say, oh, so and so started the fight or whatever. I got to be like, look, I started the fight, or I didn't do my homework on time and the teacher got on me, whatever. I say, but the biggest thing that affected me in a way that was like, I'm so glad it happened, because it brought me to a place where most kids are not going to be. I say teenagers, college age, and then adults, yes, but not a 6, 7 year old. He was taking me to the AA counseling meetings. And so I'm sitting in the meeting next to my stepdad where I'm hearing people talk kind of in, conversations that we're having right now. I'm 5, 6 years old. I'm hearing how people are selling their babies' diapers to go get crack. I'm hearing how they're going to gamble their $50, 100, $500 of rent at the casino because they know they could hit it. I'm hearing that stuff. And I'm like, and I'm trying, some of it I don't understand. I'm asking my stepdad question, like, what's that mean? He did this. And I'm like, oh, and then it's like, wow. And I'm just sponging it in like all day. And it never crossed my mind of judgment on these people, because I knew they were doing what we're doing. They were communing together, talking and like bouncing stuff, all the PTSD, all the anxiety, all the things they've done to themselves and to their family to try to cope with it and see what they can do to get out of that and make it better, and then be on a consistent track back to living a normal life, not doing the things that they talked about. And so that's where, for me, like coming up in my household, like things hitting me in terms of childhood, being a kid, I say it started early. It was crazy. So between that and then when I was probably like 4, 3 years old, I had my stepdad, my mom, and then my dad. He had his kids. He lived with his wife. I had a stepmom, and I remember right before. So I grew up. I was born in Omaha, Nebraska. Grew up but then moved to Los Angeles. And part of the reason we moved to Los Angeles, one reason is my mom wasn't a big fan of living in the Midwest, and the family was kind of, off and on, and I don't know what it was with it, but she wanted to move to California. She had a real close friend. She was my godmother. We lived with her for a little bit. And I know then before us leaving, I lived with my dad. She wanted to try to, make it work. Say, let's live, I'm gonna put you with your dad, and I was obviously upset. I didn't want to leave my mom, but she did. She said, I want my son to be raised by his dad. But unfortunately, my dad had other kids, and those other kids were in high school when I was in the, I'm an adolescent. I'm 5, 6 years old. And one of those brothers did something, molested me. He gets kicked out the house. I don't know. I'm like oblivious to what happened, but I knew something wasn't right. I'm like, this is not normal. I couldn't put my finger on it. And that point for me was a turning point, because what it did was, from the stuff that I got from my stepdad later on in life, I learned, and the way my mom raised me, I learned from that. It's like, okay, I had this terrible thing just happen to me. Can't really talk about it. It's embarrassing. Obviously, I got over that because I'm talking about it now. Where do I go from here? Right. And I'm asking this as I'm 5, 6 years old. Where do I go from here? And so I said to myself, that was bad. All right, I'm gonna go. I mean, bad is right. I'm gonna go good left. So I'm gonna think positively. I'm gonna try to forget it and wash it down, and then go do my school. Move to California with my mom now, live with her. And she met my stepdad, and he's in AA. And then now I'm learning how to cope with stuff that happened to me, because I'm hearing adults dealing with alcohol addiction, drug addiction, gambling addiction, all that. So I'm taking adults' stories and helping them heal myself up. And I'm 5. I'm 6. I didn't when I sometimes think about what I did, I'm like, what was I? I'm like, was I a Jedi? It's like, this is Star Wars, I'm a Jedi, because I'm doing stuff that ain't no 5-year-old doing, because no 5-year-old is going to be thinking about that. But a lot of, unfortunately, there's 5-year-olds that have been through what I've been through, And so with that, I was like, look, I don't want that to change the way I see my life in front of me, because I could be depressed, I could be mad and upset. So I kind of went the other way and was completely 100% positive. But every now and then, through the years, between being 9, 10, 11, 12, I would be in my room in California, or when we moved back to Nebraska when I was 14, a freshman in high school. Every now and then, those years after, I could just be sitting in the room watching TV, and it gets quiet, and then that moment goes through my head.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, why did he do that?
Yeah.
I feel anger. I feel embarrassment. I'm thinking about the whole time where basically he was sitting in the bathroom, and I remember the door shutting, and then, it's like, so like, why would your older brother do that to you? Do that to their little sibling, a brother or, sister? Why? Like, where are they at in their head? So I was always dissecting it. Every now and then I have those quiet moments. Oh, it's always the quiet moments. When it's quiet, you like, things just come through. It's like, oh, and it's like, it's the stuff you don't want to hear, but it's truthful stuff that your body is still, your brain, your soul, your emotions are still processing. And so by the time I became a college student, a college athlete, when I was 18, I said to myself, when I was like between 17 and 18, I said, when I get my opportunity, I'm going to confront my brother. Because I had seen him multiple times. Once I got back to Nebraska, we went out to eat a couple times, and we hung out, played video games together. I never brought it up. And so reason why, and then I say, so freshman year, fast forward to freshman year at Nebraska. And then he hits me up mid-season. It was like, we're like 6 weeks into the season, 7 weeks into the regular season. He said, bro, I want to come down and hang out with you at your dorm room. I mean, I want to watch you, practice and all that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then as soon as he said that, I hung up the phone, and I said, this is my moment. I'm going to take advantage of it right now. With him coming to my dorm room, I'm going to tell him how I feel about what he did to me, to his face. Because like I said, the way my mom and dad raised me, is you got to sometimes meet the problem up in the front, right, and face it. And so he got to the room. Fast forward to that, he's in the room. My roommate is not there, and I said, hey, bro, let's sit down for a minute. I want to have a conversation about something. And I think and it kind of, I could see his face, and I could see he knew what I was about to hit. And I got into it, and I said, what like, I'm 4 years old. Why? I said, what was in your head, your body and this mind to say and do the things you did to me, where I was oblivious to it. But I'm an adolescent. That could have messed me up. You know, but the way my mom raised me, my stepdad has raised me, I've learned how to take something like that and not put it behind me, but motivate me in a way to be positive and not depress me. Because I could have went into depression. I could have went into saying, "When am I bisexual or am I heterosexual?" You know, what I could have been lost in that type of area, but I didn't take that because I know what I wanted to do for myself. I wanted to be a college athlete. I wanted to be a well-rounded human being, and I wanted to be somebody that, one, I'm not doing that to my siblings. I'm not doing that to my nieces and nephews. I'm not doing that to any young adult, young kid, because when you're born, life is tough already. Why would you want somebody that's supposed to be a loved one almost destroy you from day one as a kid? So I was like, I'm not doing that. But why in the hell did you try to do that to me? That's basically what I said to him. And I said, then after that, he said a couple things. I can't remember what he said, but I was like, you did not break me. I said, I am standing right here. I got a full ride scholarship to the University of Nebraska because I didn't allow that moment to turn me sour or to put hatred and depression and all that could be in me. I didn't let that happen. And I was too motivated to live. Like I just wanted to live, you know. And I think that part of me where I just want to live came from the fact that when I was born, when I was 2 years old, traveling back and forth, like I said, between California and Nebraska, my mom, she noticed that I was dehydrated. We were like coming from Nebraska, got stopped in Arizona at a Greyhound station. She jumped off the Greyhound. She took me to the emergency room and found out I was dehydrated. I had something in my body that was eating away all my baby fat. And so I was ultra dehydrated. And the doctor said in the emergency room, said, hey, if you didn't bring your 2-year-old son here, he probably would have died on the bus from dehydration. Did he catch something? It was a virus. It was something that it ate away all my baby fat. So even when I was a kid, right, stuff was going on with me that I was unaware of, that it hurt me, but I just learned how to, you know, go with the flow, go with the stride. And so that right there was the beginning of, you know, what came next later when I was 18. So that right there was the start of the first 18 years of my life, right? Coping and dealing with all that, right? And I'll say the toughest moment though, that did break me down, something that did break me down, was the fact that once I got in the NFL, you know, I got drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. Things were going, you know, okay. I'm a 3rd round pick. And me and my girlfriend, we've been dating since high school, off and on. We had a child now, you know, she's 2 at that time. We're both same age. We're both fresh. We're 21. We're green, totally green, wet behind the ears, living in Seattle, trying to build a family, you know. And for whatever reason, from the moment when we're off and on between college, when she found out, when she started to see all the accolades I was getting, being an All-American, being recruited by these schools and all that, something in her head flicked. It switched to being this loving, caring person to now, where are you going? Who are you talking to? I know, you know, I'm like, I don't do nothing but football, school, and I come to your house. You know, now I'm getting accused of seeing this girl, going on this date. I'm like, Omaha, Nebraska is 200,000 people. Trust me, people. If I go anywhere, people are gonna know where I went. Why would I do that? You know. So now I'm getting accused of stuff I'm not doing. And long story short of it, that was the hardest part for me. You fast forward to Green Bay. There's more story to it. I could tell, you know, another session. But just in the short of it is, you know, in Green Bay, where I had my best years from 2001 to 2004, were my 4 years in a row Pro Bowl year. It was hell. We individually getting married. You know, I'm being the nice guy. Like, I'm gonna try to do my best. Like, I don't want my kids being raised by someone else, and I'm gonna try to be there for them, even though living with their mother is completely hell. She wants to argue to win. She wants to argue when she's wrong. She wants to argue when she's right. When I come home from practice, all I want to do is take a nap, go downstairs, play some video games, grab a bottle of water. But she wants to go into stuff that I'm not doing, stuff. She's spending money doing it. I come home like, where are all these bags from? And it ain't groceries. She can't cook. It was I needed you, Nick. I would have.
I can. I was about to say I can.
Right. She's complaining about stuff I'm not doing around the house. When you've been at home all day for 8 hours, I've been on the football field. I've been in the meeting room. I'm working. I'm putting money. We got money in the bank account where you could put food on the table. What are you doing other than basically bitching and moaning to me? And I'm Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl 1, 2001. Pro Bowl 2, 2002. Pro Bowl 3. And this is the point where I was not. My close teammates, they kind of knew because their wives or girlfriend was talking to my wife, and so they kind of knew something was up. So I only had my guys checking in on me, and I was that one was like, I'm good. I didn't want my problems to be, I was being the ultimate teammate where I'm like, I don't want my problems to be your problem. I say I got to deal with this stuff already. I don't want y'all have to deal with it too. So I'm decompartmentalizing things. Like when I got to the stadium, right before I shut the door to my car, before I walked into that first door, everything got erased. I would forget everything outside the stadium. Then I'm locked in. I'm in this is Bears week. I'm locked in. I got Brian Urlacher. I got Lance Briggs. I got Sweet Pea, Tillman. I got to deal with. When I got in that locker room, it was all Bears, Lions, Packers, our offense, game plan, red zone, da-da-da-da-da. As soon as I walk out that door, 5 o'clock, I'm back into the crap. Like, all right, what's going on now? So me getting through that and then finally opening up later in my career, at the end of my career, to some of my teammates about that, they was like, we knew stuff was going on. We just wasn't sure how, if we were to approach you about it, what you were going to do. And I'm like, I understand, because I was quiet. I was that typical, like we already mentioned. I was going to keep it to myself and handle it on myself. But eventually I found out it's going to handle me because I wasn't sharing that conversation with my teammates. A few I did. I remember Brett pulled me aside one time. He said, AG, you okay? And I kind of, I played around the question. No, I'm okay, man. It's just, this going on with that and other. I said, I'm going to figure it out. He's like, okay. He said, hey, if you want to talk, you can come over to the house anytime. Let me know. So it was teammates that put that, like you said, that olive branch out there. Brett Favre was one. Donald Driver was another. William Henderson was another. Guys, Gilbert Brown, Dorsey Levens. So they were there. It's just, I was in that mind like I could handle this. And not, it wasn't that I handled this. I just didn't want to put that on y'all. That was my business. And it wasn't that it was my business. I didn't want my friends, my teammates. I'm going through this. I don't want them to go through this because this is shit. This is hell. This is arguing about nothing and then throwing stuff at each other. Where I got to leave the house and drive the neighborhood just to calm down. I don't want that. I don't want my teammate to know that I'm going through that because I love them too much. Those are my guys. I don't want them to put them through what I'm going through, So that was the stuff that in the middle of my career, I was like, I'm learning some things, but I still got to get better at some things and communicating where I had to get better at that part. I say one person I could talk to was my stepdad. He was the guy that pretty much raised me. And so when he passed away in 2007, boy, you talking about being lost. That was my guy. I could call him up morning, noon, and night. Hey, Dad, we got to talk. I need to get some stuff off your chest. She did this to me today, or she said this to me today, And it wasn't, most of the time it was that stuff. Unfortunately, we couldn't even really talk football. And he was a football player. He played lineman. He was a coach. I would love to be talking football with my dad instead of talking about my relationship, but that was the person that could do it. And it just seemed like he always had the right answer, And then once he passed, and it was like, man, who do I call now? I was literally asking myself, is it my mom? I was in another relationship, and this one went better. We're still together today, and we're functioning normal. Do I talk to my wife now? Do I talk to my mom about it? I try to talk to my two older brothers. One older brother kind of came in as a solid replacement for a few years, but he had his own life too. So, but it's just for this platform. I say, guys, I realized, I say, only thing I wish I would have done bit better, and I learned from it. And I'm not holding it against myself. Just been more communicative with my teammates and said yes. Know what, Brett? Let me come by. Let me, grab my bag, and I'll come over your house just for a little bit, and I'll tell you what's going on. Get you caught up so you understand what I'm going through right now. I would have loved it. I should have done that with him. I've done that with a few guys, but he was the first. I should have done it with him when he asked me to. And I think that's where we get into. I don't really think it's the being the man side of it. It's just like, for me anyway, I'll say it was just like I already said, I didn't want my friends, my coworkers to be going, potentially down that lane that I'm going through, because I know some of them guys are proactive. They're like, hey man, I'll come and talk. I'll come help out. I may not be a counselor, but I'll come to your house and da 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 da. And I'm like, no, I don't want to put you through that. I don't want to put my teammates. I already know stuff is going on with my teammates' lives. If this is going on with me, I know maybe good or bad, in your home. I don't want to put that another weight on your back from the stuff that we already got to deal with as professional athletes too. We got 1,000 things that we got to do and think about and do. So I would say, the longer and short of it, that's been my I say a segment of little fractions of situations that I say I've been through. And now, and I mentioned, I'm a Star Wars guy. I was a Jedi in training as a kid. With it being now, like, I just turned 49, and I could see it a mile away. I could be on. I still hang out and talk to former and current athletes today, and when I could just see their mannerisms, I could hear the way they answered the question, and I already know something's going on. And I could say, hey, when you want to talk, just let me know. I'm here for you. I got you. That's what I tell them. I got you. I'm just an ear to bend. That's it. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna listen, because I know you need somebody to listen to, because that's all I was kind of basically looking for. Somebody to listen to. That was my stepdad up until he passed away. So I say that's big for everybody, because this world we live in, constantly changing every day, trying to live in it is like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, trying to get through the temple without getting hit with the poison darts, and then the collapsing of the floor, and then what's the one he was like the doctor trying to rip the heart out your chest. You got all that shit going on. That's life on Earth today. I'll say that's my biggest. I always tell people, it's like Indiana Jones. You don't know what the hell's coming at you these days, between AI, social media, your government, food industry. Where you want to start? What is keeping you? What's trust you doing your best to keep yourself afloat above all the chaos that's going on around our lives that's here on Earth, basically. So that's it's a little bit of my story right there. I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, and but yeah, got a lot of experience, got a lot of situations similar. I had a friend in high school, unfortunately took his life. He was a junior in high school because he found out his girlfriend was pregnant. And I'm like, what? When I found it out, I was at the track meet getting ready for the 200 that we usually race against. And I'm asking everybody, I transferred high schools. I went from Omaha North to Omaha Central. I'm at the meet and I'm warming up, and I said, hey, where T at? That was his nickname, T. I said, where T at? Oh, he didn't show up at school today. And I'm like, this was districts. We're about to go to state. I'm like, well, he got to qualify. I know he's going to qualify, but he not here? All right. Now I kind of went. I was like, all right, and warmed up. And then right before, literally 5 minutes before the 200, the rumor spread like wildfire. Oh, T shot himself. He shot himself. and it got to me, and I'm literally about to get in the blocks. I'm literally jumping in the blocks, and I just hear my best friend just shot himself. You think I ran that 200? I looked at the blocks and I just started walking. When the gun went off, I literally jogged up out of the blocks. I sat there on the track and jogged a 200. And then my coach, not reading the room, and he's passed away too, but God bless his soul. Not reading the room, you know what he does? He's an old school coach, so he throws me in another event. He throws me in the 400 as punishment. You didn't run that 200, so go run this 400. Well, what you think I'm gonna do in the 400? I said, but you ain't asked me a question, and you ain't asked me, are you okay? Mm-hmm. What's going on? Why are you running the 200 like that? I would have said, Coach, I just found out my best friend shot himself. Then if you would have asked me that question, then would you have thrown me in the 400? Probably not, because then I'm going through something right now, And so it's just interesting things how people view stuff, actions of others during that time. So that's one thing I've learned is always observe, look first before you speak, read the room, especially if somebody coming to you for help. Check out their body, are they breathing, how they breathing, how their eyes are moving around, if they're jumping from thought to thought, pay attention to everything, because then you could kind of just off of their body mannerisms, you could kind of know where they're at. You could know they're nervous, they're sick, they're about to throw up, or they pissed off. They about to go do something they shouldn't be doing. You could just do that and don't even say a word. And if they are about to do something they shouldn't be doing, be like, hey, no, you stay right here. I can see your face. You ain't going nowhere. We're gonna sit there and we're gonna have a conversation. I could see, right? Because I've been in this already in the last 5-6 years. I've been in situations where I had young kids that I was coaching. I could see their faces, and I'm like, you're not going nowhere. You're staying right here with me. Let's have a talk. I just want to calm you down, because I see you're about to go do something that you're gonna probably regret because you're upset. So let's bring it down about 98 degrees. Let's do that. So no, I appreciate, like I said, you guys listening in, and I got more stuff. So just wanted to get that out there before we, I don't know if we're going to wrap up, but I hope that was helpful and insightful for you all listening in. And I appreciate all the other stories prior to mine as well. It's been, great to hear stuff that should be a norm of hearing from, because just like sports, we want to know, okay, who knows how to shoot the three? Teach me how to shoot the three. Or who knows how to throw this pass, or who knows how to cook this egg salad really good, or chop it. Yeah, that stuff. You want to talk about that stuff because that's the easy stuff to talk about. Yeah. But what about the stuff that is keeping you up late at night? Let's have a conversation about that. I'm right. That's where I'm at with some of my friends with that, because I'm close with them. I'm like, hey, bro, I know what's going on. Let's have that talk. Why are we avoiding it? Let's get into it. Let's get a problem, talked about, and then processed, and then see where we're going to go next with it. That's where I'm trying to be. I know it's aggressive. It might be aggressive, but sometimes you got to have that to really push it out of people. Because like it was like pulling teeth for me. I could barely say. I wouldn't say nothing. You talking about poke? Somebody said poker face. I had the best poker face in the building in Lambeau Field. I'll tell you that. Not a soul would know. It came a little close with Brett. When Brett hit me up, I was starting to crack, because I'm like, man, he really wants to know. And I had a moment to tell him, and I didn't. And so that's one where I learned my lesson. I needed that, and I should have went forward and said, hey man, I got this going on. So, but lesson learned, and now moving forward. So I appreciate y'all listening.
Absolutely. Amon and Jordan, I was going to say, like, if you only asked me if I was okay, I would have been your personal chef for free. No charge at all, man. Both you guys.
Is it too late?
No, never too late, man. I'm still available. 20 years plus in the business, baby. I got you guys. That's all it takes, right? Crazy. Hey, are you okay? How you feeling? That's it. You like you guys said, it's so crazy how like the brain works. It's like you hear that, and it's a game changer. It's like, yeah, like you said, their mood changes just like that, like a 360. It's happened before. That's all you have to do, just to change hearts and minds. Just ask that.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
No.
Thank you for your stories, guys. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can see my hat here. I know somebody said this earlier.
Oh, yeah.
It says it's not okay.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this group,
Yes.
I met there. I don't know where everybody lives, but they're out of Chicago. And I
Okay.
went to a gaming event. It was called Frosty Frostings, and they had a booth there. And I have a podcast, and it's the Gamers Lounge that's right there. And so I did a walk and talk. I had my mic. I had one of my friends with me holding the camera, and they were the first table right there. And I saw this hat, and they had rubber bands too. And I was like, that's my first group. I said, would you mind having a conversation? I said, because I love what you're saying here. Hope, it's called Hope for the Day. They're based out of Chicago. And when I say that first line is it's okay not to be okay, I said, you're saying so much without saying a lot. I said, because that is so big in the world today, that because with all the social media tech around us that kind of lock us in to where sometimes we don't really know. We think we're in touch with people, we really not. I realized this like a month ago where it happened with my birthday. And what happened was one of my guys that I stream with, we do a lot of production, a lot of clips of our streams. We play Call of Duty, we play Madden and all that. And he signed into my Facebook. And so his birthday got actually flipped into my account on the Facebook account. So we're both born in the same month of February, but he's born February 14th, 1993. I was born February 16th, 1977. So, of course, when that 14th popped up just a month ago, everybody's sending me birthday wishes. And I'm like, on the Valentine's Day, and I said, thank you. I said, appreciate you, but my birthday's 2 days from now. And so that just made me realize, like, we're so in tune, not realizing stuff. Like, and these were some of my high school friends and family members. Like, my family, like, hold up, y'all know my birthday. What is you doing? So that just made me think about, are we really paying attention to people we know and care and love about? On a level where, okay, I know that's not a mom's birthday. February, he was born February 16th. Like we've been at birthday parties on February 16th. It's just kind of showed me kind of a microcosm of sometimes we need to really touch in, like not just every now and then. If we could get a phone call in where you could hear voices, I think that's a little bit better. Text messages, okay, from time to time, but get a voice on the phone. Then you could hear them, breathe them, and really ask them questions and talk to them where they're just not doing this. And because when you're doing this, you may be having 4 or 5 other conversations with people, So just really get into that realness of communicating with people that you love and care about. I think that's something that has to be done with the graceness of how much. I mean, if you care and love about them, that means you want 110% attention from them, and you want to give it to them. Then you want them to receive it back, because then you're being supported, you're being cared about, you're being listened to. That is so huge when people hear you and actually hear you and say, you know what, I hear you, I feel you, and I understand you. I'm here for you. I've heard that so many times in some of the leadership courses and certifications that I've received, that is powerful for that person that's looking for that help, that's looking for that support.
Ahmad, you brought up something interesting. I'm gonna throw this out to Jordan, Nick, and Johnny. You said your stepdad, he was your go-to guy, and losing him was tough, and I can understand that. But my question to you guys is, who was your mentor? Did you guys have a go-to? Did you have to search high and low to find that go-to? I'm not going to say it was easy for Ahmad that he clicked automatically with his stepdad, but something was there that drew that psychology to be together. So you guys, was there somebody? How long did it take to find that right person? Have you found that right person? That's a better question too. Have you found that guy yet? So I asked Johnny, Nick, Jordan, whoever wants to go first, but I'm really curious that.
I think, well, one, I like to make the connection also to Amon. My dad was a running back for the Cornhuskers as well. Doug DeBose, but
Oh,
I
okay.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So didn't really like grow up with him, have a relationship, but like kind of look up to his image, like growing up. So that was kind of what I was chasing after until
Hmm.
I got to know him, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like for the longest that was who I was looking up to until you realize who somebody is. Not taking anything away from him, but now I do have like a guy I look up to, Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. I think uh is the guy. Like I love watching his
Oh,
sermons. I love watching his
yep. I know you're
motivational
talking about.
speeches.
Yep.
And yeah, and like I feel like when you don't know anybody personally that is that person for you, there's always like somebody out there that has a similar story or a similar journey that you can look up to, and that's that guy for me, right?
Yep. That's awesome. And I know
Yeah,
that feels good. I know that feeling.
yeah,
It's a good
yeah,
feeling. That
definitely.
support feeling. It's different. It hits different. Yep.
Johnny, Chef Nick, mentors. You have any?
Yes.
Have you
For me, growing up, I wasn't the closest to my father. So for me, it was my mother. She looked out for me. She worked her ass off to take care of me. She did multiple jobs. She did everything she could to take care of me. Fortunately, my mother passed away 2 years ago, so that was very hard to deal with, to lose her and not have her. And that's something that can also, affect with depression and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always try to take the positive out of the negative, and I say, listen, I was fortunate enough to have my mom. She passed away when I was 33. So I said, listen, I had 33 years with my mom, and I was fortunate enough to have that. So I took the positive out of the negative. That's somebody who looked out for me. She took me to sporting events. She had me go on to sign up for baseball, do everything I wanted to do. And I appreciate that. And that's something you usually see on the father side of things. But unfortunately, not the closest to my father in that sense. So it was my mom who did that.
Right.
So, and I love that. So that was kind of my mentor. And I just, other things too. I love comedy. I love, obviously I love sports because we're here on this channel, but also I look up to, comedians, and also there's musicians too that I also look up to. I'm a big house music head. As you guys may know, I love house music. So there's a lot of house music artists that I listen to.
Nice.
Carl Cox being one of them. He's out of the UK, but now he's in Australia.
I know.
Big, yes, that's my guy. I was fortunate enough to meet him too in my travels, so it was a big thing. But he's a very positive guy, and he's also very big on mental health too. So that's it for me.
You from Chicago? I thought house music was a Chicago thing.
Oh, listen, we could have a whole show about that. No, I'm here on the East Coast, but Chicago is the birthplace of house music.
Yeah, my wife's from Chicago, and
yes,
TV.
Yes,
when we went down there a few times, and at first I was like, I didn't know what to do. Then I finally like, all right, I'm fine. I gotta find the beat. Let me find the beat, then I could start jamming. I could. Yeah. When I couldn't find the beat at first, it was rough. But then once I did, I was like, all right, I'm good with this now.
Chef, you referred earlier it was rough, and you and your brothers are tight.
Mm-hmm.
How many brothers you got? Two.
I got two older brothers. Yeah, like look, it is hard to. I'll tell you this much: I had mostly a close connection to Chuck Norris than my parents. Let me say, and the Chuck Norris death was very disappointing to me. That's where I'm going to put it at. So it's been a rough childhood. But let's go back to my brothers. Yes, my brothers were still close knit. It's all of us. We're together still. We're still doing things together. Also trying to do future investments together. And look, I got my friends too, my close friends. I used to have like a lot of acquaintances, like going out wise, but that wasn't friends. That was just like, going out and drinking. That was it. You didn't really, text them, hey, I'm going through something. Can you come over? Like, no, I'm going out. I'm going to party. All right. Well, so sort of different right now. So I'm 42 years old. I'm, sort of like late to the party with investments, but I'm trying to get my life going with that. Really hard now when, especially now in New York City where they're trying to make it hard for you, but with trying to invest in stuff. But that's another talk for another day. But in regards to that, this is why I, like Johnny, you said music is very important. Humor is very important. Look, some people might find my humor, Ahmad and Jordan too. Like, I know you guys haven't, pretty much you don't know me from a hole in the wall until tonight, but on this channel, I do a lot of humor and I'm very sarcastic. Victor and Johnny and the community knows it, where it's like, look, me, I have my bad humor, my dad jokes, bad, terrible, whatever, my quips. I did the play-by-play with the Yankees with Evan, who's a great co-host on the show. We had a great play-by-play, and it was just like out of the blue, where I was just giving my sarcastic play-by-play with the Yankees. But even with that, it's like, sometimes it's like it's healthy to go to humor, where it's like if you find something funny, it sort of distracts. That's the main thing too. You don't want to distract yourself, because that's temporary. It's not permanent, but it sort of like puts whatever you want to think on hold for a bit, like the negative feelings, unhealthy feelings on hold for a little bit. You go to comedy. One of my favorite comedians was Norm Macdonald. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him.
Oh yeah.
But,
I know
Yep. One of my favorite comedians. Again, like people said, oh, he was offensive. I didn't see that. People were like, all right, he had his own delivery. He had his own dry type of humor. That's what I saw. So with music, look, I'm a big rock and roll guy, big house guy. One of my favorite musicians is Phil Collins. Phil Collins. So look, Phil Collins did a collab with Bone Thugs and Harmony back in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. But anyway, Phil Collins, with Chuck Norris, is once. Look, we had a show. I think Nathan broke the news that Chuck Norris passed away, and I choked up. I didn't know. I didn't even know he was rushed to a hospital. I didn't even know he passed away. When Nathan broke the news, I choked up. I couldn't even finish what I had to say in my final thoughts on the show. I had to take a step back. This is how it's like these actors, these role models, they're surrogate fathers, surrogate family members, where it's like you look up to these people and like, wow, I'm going to be like that. I'm not saying there's a problem with that, but it's like, look, if you're going to look up to someone that's not part of your family, it's there's something wrong with that dynamic, the fundamentals of the family. But again, we could go to another topic of another day. But Phil Collins falls in the same type of category. Well, Phil Collins is absolute genius. Like to me, Miami Vice, the drum roll in
oh yeah, Heat of the Night. Yeah.
Oh, crazy. And it's like you can pause the whole song and play that drum roll for the rest of the night.
That's it.
You're set. You're good. But these are my role models. We all have role models. We all have people that we look up to that we can have a crappy morning, but if we hear a certain song, if we hear a certain motivational phrase by Rocky Balboa, regardless of what it is, like it keeps us going because we can relate to these people. We are them. We can relate. We share our interests with them. They keep us going. It's almost like it's crazy. It's like it's almost like the universe telling us, get your ass up, get up and going, and keep going through the day. Don't give up. It's almost like that, and it's like you have to do that. You have to, and I don't want to say you have to. Again, it's almost like have tos or should. You should, you have to. It's almost like forced. You would want to. That's the vocabulary I would like to change. You would want to get off your ass and get through the day. Get strong and get through the day. It's very important. And it's really hard, even for me too. Day by day, it's really hard to even get off my ass. But I always like to try to tell that to myself. But anyway, no, great panel today, guys. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time, energy, and focus, baby. I love you all. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, I would like to say a few things. First of all,
guys.
This
it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Hold on. I still want to share something real quick here. Like I said, the question with the, who you look up to and everything else.
Mentor, you're mentoring. Like who's your mentor? Right.
Yeah. And again, I'm gonna bring you guys back to the 70s. It started for me, with one of the priests. I was able to go to him, Father Gerard, who was a major portion of my early life and everything. Got me through the death of my grandmother and stuff like that. I had an uncle, my Uncle Russell, who was, I'll just say he had friends in New York with the Gambino family. I had guys like that around me. My dad was an absolute personality magnet in, all the people I met who would talk to me about my dad, especially after he died, even before he died. My dad was, I'm going to just put it this way. My dad was my best friend. It was just, this is my dude, man. We're just going to roll through life, and this is going to be it. He's going to live forever. I'm going to live forever. And when he died in 88, I went into probably the darkest spot I've ever been in my life, man. I got mad at everybody, but I was particularly mad at God more than anything. And again, I had somebody to turn to for that end to help me get past that. And that was my best friend, Robert, who he decided one day he had enough of my shit and just came across the picnic table we were sitting at in his backyard, and he laid me out. It was him over the table, me on the ground. I think I got an elbow up, and that was it. And he just told me, man, dude, you either do it or I'm going to do this until you do. And I was like, all right, enough. That was now Robert was a big dude, and me and him, we've been wrestling since we were kids, man. So I thought I could hold my own, man, but he had something on his mind then, but he was it. And it just seemed that I had different tools for different people, and to settle on one, really hard to do. But so like right now, my mentor or somebody I look up to is right in the other room, and that's my wife. She's when I met her, she was a kid trapped in an abusive family that hid behind the religious belief of Seventh-day Adventists. I think they're all pure on the outside. You go into that house and you think getting her out of that and breaking her out of that. We've been together 26 years, guys. Somewhere along the line, somewhere along the line, though, she lost her way for a while. And I'm just going to put it in a condensed, and just to put it all in. It all came together one night. You get that feeling that something from the outer world, a father or somebody who comes down, makes you notice something. We were drinking that afternoon, and I passed out. I was just taking a nap, man. And I don't know if I woke up and saw my dad sitting at the end of the bed, and he went, or he was really there sitting at the all I know is the next thing I know, I'm trying to get in the bathroom and she's not answering. I hear some moaning. I just stepped back and I went through the door, man. And there she was, next thing I know, I'm dragging her out of a bathtub full of blood, wrapping her wrist and everything. And that was a long, long ride to the hospital, man. But fortunately, the right people at the right time and the right place to put her, to get her, back on her feet. It was a long struggle, and there's struggles still today with her. Depression. It's even with tools and everything else. It's a son of a bitch that just doesn't want to go away. To me, it's even worse than cancer at a point. Johnny, you said you lost your mom 2 years ago. I lost my mom 2 years ago, dementia and Alzheimer's. My stepdad, being the son of a bitch he's always been, he didn't even tell me my mom died. I had to find out through Messenger, Facebook, that my mom had passed. Didn't even have the decency to call me. Man, 20, 30 years ago, airport bar, plane, Florida, off the plane, beat his ass, back on the plane, and be ready for chef's dinner or something. I didn't do that. I turned away. I just went to the Lord, man. I said, here we are again, God. What are we doing, man? And so far, it's been a little rough past this whole year. As you guys know, I had a rough time. I have a podcast myself of mine, but I shut it down because I felt of a self-failure. I was working hard, not getting what I wanted, and it just didn't seem right. And then I just I shut it down. And then these two guys reached out one day and they're like, "Yo, what's up?" And I told them, and Johnny, he'll tell you, we were having a conversation. I said, "Hey, let's just do a mental health show, man. Let's get out there and talk about this shit, man. If we help one person tonight, if we help that person tonight, that's a blessing."
That's all it takes.
Ahmad, Jordan, and everybody on here that came on tonight, my God, my heart's out. And I can't thank you guys enough. It's rough, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Ahmad, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
And Chef and Johnny. And there's our man, Nathan.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
First of all,
please, if you want to say something along with this, if you have a story to share, please, at this time, share a story. Tell us something, man. And, you know, we can get to the plugs in a minute, but if you've got something you want to share, man, now's the time.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say is fantastic show. This was amazing, and glad that my team and I can bring on Aman, Adam, Nate, Jordan, and unfortunately Chris couldn't join, but we'll try and get him on next time. But I just want to say thank you to Aman, Nate, obviously Jordan, and then Adam. We love working with them, and these 4 individuals are amazing. They have their own stories, and especially 3 of them played football, and the one plays basketball, and to bring everyone together in this one setting with Chef Nick, Johnny, Salami, and Victor, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to my team, and means a lot to everyone here. And man, what an impactful show. And myself, I have 9 mentors. Like my parents obviously are my mentors. My grandfather is my mentor, and man, it's crazy. And in the sports world, I got 9 mentors. So, and it's really important to have the right mentors that you have, and rely on them to help you out in a certain way. So, having this show is truly amazing. So,
Yep. I say a lot. I think a few of you said it already. But we got tools for our toolbox. You know, every story that was shared, you can use it at some point in time. Because if you really listen, which everybody was listening because everybody was quiet, you can make sure when something pops up tonight, tomorrow, the next day, a month, a year, you can remember, say, "Hey, okay, I remember this conversation the chef said," you know, or what Jordan said on that can help me out. And I just tell people too, the other big thing is you're not alone. I was literally today on a messaging in Discord with a friend, a new friend I just met a couple months ago online. We haven't met in person yet, but we do a podcast. We're gonna start doing a stream together, a video game stream.
Nice.
And you know, he just told me he had some, you know, unfortunate things happen with the job, not his life. I say part of his life was his business life, and the job got restructuring. And during the restructure, he didn't get some of the stuff he was supposed to get in terms of his contract of him getting paid. And he's got a couple things coming up very big for his life, you know, monumental things. And he's just like saying like things like, "Man, I wanted to do this for, you know, for his fiance. And, you know, now she's in college. She doesn't, you know, she's working for her degree and she can't work. So it's just me bringing the money." And I said, "Look," I said, I said, anything that happens with the business that you're working at, that's out of your control. I said, so focus on what you can control and just be there the best way you can. That's all you can do. Because if you feel that you're going down that road of putting all that weight on yourself, that you feeling that you got to do everything no matter what, then that's going to be tough. I said, so just take it one day at a time of knowing that you doing your best. She's going to do her best, finish up her degree, her law, I believe law degree or something. And I got you. And then I said, after all that, I got you. You know, I told him my story the last couple of years, you know, between, I say, I had changed a couple jobs. They didn't quite work out where I was working at one university and went to another. And then the other was my school in Nebraska. It didn't quite work there. And now I'm just hustling. You know, I've been out of football since 2009. So I got another income that I gotta you know, focus on. You know, it's not football anymore. It's what I'm doing here with the podcasting, speaking engagements, consulting, coaching camps, coaching kids. I'm out here doing it. So don't let, I said, you got somebody you can reach out to. You could bend my ear. All you that goes out to all of you guys in this chat right here too. So just know that
Appreciate it.
you got my phone number, you got my email, you get it from Nathan. Hit me up.
Yep.
You need a conversation because, like I said, I've been down that road in so many different ways, from sports to just regular life, from paying bills to having family members that you want to invite to an event, but they don't get along. You gotta put them at this table or that table. Like I've been like 1,000 different situations that you got to understand that where as long as you're in control of yourself, that's the best thing that could be going on right there. Because if the situation grabs a hold of you, then that's tough because you're not thinking you're normal. You're not thinking you're just doing something because it's guiding you through the situation and it's not you controlling it. And then we all been there. You know what I'm talking about. That's why you're shaking your head. That is the part that I hate. I hate when something happens and I know I was out of control. It just feels so weak. Like it's just like, I was like, I did not have control. I said this, I was saying this and stuff I don't say. That wasn't me because I let the situation control me. I let the emotions come out first, not let my eyes and my ears listen. I let my mouth and my brain just spit out all this toxicity because the emotions were up front. I said, I gotta put, and what I call those emotions, I call them, you'll like this one, I call them little Amon. So when a little Amon gets talking, okay, it's a problem. We don't want little Amon talking because he's a little guy. He's a little kid that's going to just come off the hook saying crazy stuff. And then when you hear that from me, that's little Amon talking, not big Amon. Big Amon got it. When I have it together, so that's where I call that emotion when it comes out. I call it little Amon. So you got little Chef, little Jordan and crew, little Johnny, when little Johnny's out, watch out, that's what my wife and kids, because I brought it up to my wife and kids and they be like, oh, that was little Amon. I'm like, yeah, that was little Amon. I apologize for that.
Yes. Victor, I'm going to say my story for the next panel.
Yes.
I lost my grandfather 2 years ago. I don't feel like getting emotional right now. So every time I talk about my grandfather, I get emotional. So I'm going to save that story to be continued on the next mental health panel. So because I have a lot to say when it comes to that.
And I want to, I can add something real quick.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do another panel because there's a lot more we want to add. We can make this a week-long stream.
Yeah.
That's how much we can add.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to add. I know Victor has a lot more to add.
Yep.
Same here.
And everybody here that came on the panel. And you guys are all welcome to join again, or we can get other guests who want to add into it. So I know we were talking before, hey, let's do this every year, but let's do a part 2.
Yes.
We could plan it out. It could be a few weeks from now, a month from now, but let's do a part 2.
Okay.
And let's add more to it.
I was thinking for you guys 3 times a year.
We could do that too, but I definitely want to do a
That's
part
fair
2
enough.
for this, absolutely, and continue.
Yeah, I think the more we put it out there, the more it's not we're going to be short content at any point. And it'd be nice to hear that someone in the chat or something in the chat happened tonight, or somebody gets a hold of us later tonight through an email or something, say, hey, what Ahmad said really, really hit home because that situation. Or hey, I relate to Chef Nick, man. All I had was my brother, my sister, or Johnny, or me. You lose your best friend who just happens to be your dad, And Ahmad, you talk about being down that, saying things and everything. When I went down that path in '88, man, I remember friends would pick up their keys and money when they saw me walk into a bar. And leave. It wasn't that there was going to be a fight or anything. I'm just saying they didn't want to hear what I had to say. My attitude was just like, no, everything negative until that kicking I took. But
guys, the amazing stuff, guys. Victor, man, shout out to you. Welcome back. Welcome back to the streams, and looking forward to seeing your podcast again. And obviously, Johnny Salami, great job, and Chef Nick, great job as always. You guys did a great job with Amon, Nate, Adam, and then Jordan, and we're definitely going to bring them back on here, and then maybe add more guests to it, like Chris and some other people. But man, this was amazing, really impactful, guys. I hope everybody in the chat learned a lot tonight, and we're going to make this a routine for everyone. So because this is a
Oh, yeah.
serious conversation. And obviously the Cowboys went through it with Marshawn Nealon and a couple other teams did.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
we got to really.
That's a whole nother
Oh,
session.
yeah. So that we can save that for the next one, and also
Yeah.
my story when it comes to my grandfather. So, but thank you guys again. Shout out to the chat. Aman, thank you again, and obviously Adam,
You're welcome.
Jordan, and Nate, and unfortunately Chris couldn't join, but we'll add him to the next one. We'll add more people. So I'm gonna leave you with you guys so everybody matters. So I'm gonna leave this. This is from the one and only, and Aman, you're gonna know this. Ready for this?
Hi, this is Bernie Kosar, NFL legend, national championship, University of Miami quarterback, Cleveland Browns quarterback, Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, and finished up with the Miami Dolphins. I'm loving it, and you're watching New York Mania. You matter.
You matter.
You matter.
Yeah, I
988.
like that.
Guys,
I
everybody
like
in the
that.
chat, think about that 2 words. You matter.
Oh yeah. It's so powerful.
So thank you guys
Nothing
again. Shout out to everyone, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah, I'll say real quick. Also, my mom passed away from Alzheimer's the same week my sister-in-law passed away from breast cancer. I was wanted to share that too.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was back in 2019. That was a rough year for us, for me and my
I
wife.
hear you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just wanted to share that. Say, hey, we are all in the same boat on some things. So
yeah, that's a tough one. Mod, that's a tough one, man. The Alzheimer's dementia, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I just want to also just give like one of my final thoughts too is I think that we have a lot to say, and there should be many shows of this, and I'm going to be attending every one.
Yeah.
I want to make it a point to myself to say everything. Look, if everything's personable, that's fine. If it reaches out to people, if it touches people in a specific way in their soul, I'm good with that. Look, there's many things to say in regards to many shows that we're going to have. Look, I'm trying to find my spirituality. I had it. I lost it. I got it back again, and I lost it again. I'm trying to gain it back. So that's another.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm trying to get it back. So look, and you can have spirituality with God. You can have spirituality with nature. There's no limits to that. But that's another thing too. So there's many things to talk about. But just all in all, I just want to say, guys, I appreciate all of you. And I am more than happy to tell my life story more, no matter what. I'm not hiding anything because you know what? I think that this is very important. Every person's story is different. It's unique. The struggle, putting it lightly, but also the just our story itself. We're all connected at the end. So that's the thing that I wanted to mention too. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate all of you. Mon, thank you for your time and energy. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys as well.
Actually, before we end this, if Joe is ready, I'm going to introduce you to the host of the show. So the whole stream. So
okay, nice.
His name is Joe. Joe, if you're ready, yes, there you go.
Oh yeah,
this is
there.
Joe.
He is.
What's up, Joe?
Hey, you guys, unbelievable stories. Very inspiring. My wheels are turning for some shows. So stay tuned. But first of all, I just listening to each and every one of you, the love just keeps growing and growing. And big guy there with those headphones, you're amazing. You're an amazing guy. But that doesn't surprise me because everybody that Nitin brings to the show is amazing. So I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to being here, and of course the rest of the crew that came on and sold their stories. And the guys here already know how I feel about them. But the one thing I want to say, everyone, is thank you for this incredible waking up stories that we all go through. I sure have mine also, but all I can say is this has just been an amazing show. We are going to do this again. If this brings our community together, not just by the Yankees, not just by sports, not just by football or anything, then it's got to be done. It's got to be said. And if we like somebody said earlier, if this helps one person,
That's it.
it's done it all. It's done its job. It's done its everything that is meant to be. And first of all, personally, I want to thank Victor for bringing this up. It was it was a tremendous idea, and one that was needed. And not only commend him, but the effort that he put into this show with these beautiful emojis, these things that he put out and sent it to our emails were just amazing. They did not go unnoticed. I tried to put out as many as I could. And, again, I personally want to thank you, Victor. I know everybody's been going through things, and we're always here. We're always here for you. Rather we talk to you once a week, once a month, every 3 months. We're just we're always a phone call, a text away, and that's true for everybody, each and every one of you. On the next show, the wheels that I have going right now is I would love to have this on a quarterly basis, and then do something near the holidays, where everybody should shine in and tell maybe it'll be a shining light in the holiday season, and we all don't take advantage of. Let's live this. If we're living life, let's live it, and don't take anything for granted. Yep. Today you're a millionaire. Tomorrow you might be out in the street. You don't know. You don't know. Today you're living. People, the word I want to get out is, when we go to sleep at night, there's no guarantees. There are no guarantees that God forbid, it's in the hand of God that we wake up. And when we wake up, you should say thank you. Get into that restroom, look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm gonna make something today. I'm gonna do something today. We take that for granted. Yep. And that's the problem. That is a big problem that we have. Nobody realizes the strength that we have in each other, that we have. They all take advantage. They all don't realize. You're lucky enough to have eyes, your ears, walking. Be thankful, and don't take it for granted. And if somebody needs a handout, you see somebody struggling in the street. Is it so terrible to ask, can I help you? What happened to that? What happened to that? Where is it? It's me, 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 me. No, this show is going to be we. Yep. And that's why we're making this show. And that's why Victor was 100% right in putting this together.
Good job. You know what he's doing.
And I'm telling you right now, this has to inspire. There are people out there. All they know how to do is troll. All they know how to do is just wreck people's lives. But you know what? Look at yourself and be lucky that you wake up the next morning. And be thankful for once in this beautiful life that God gave us, that our families, our parents gave us, one way or the other. And we don't take advantage of that. And never put yourself down. Yeah. Never. I was watching some of the comments, and there's some beautiful people in our stream, and nobody should ever feel helpless. Nobody. Because you're not alone. Nope. You're not alone. And that was killing me in the comments. I'm not going to mention any names, but they know who they are. And you're not alone, and you're not helpless, and you're incredible people.
That's the
And
biggest thing. They gotta know they got people.
that I want to give to each and every one of you, because you've inspired us, and you make the world a better place. And anytime, I like calling you AG. AG, anytime you are most welcome. Anytime, any place on this show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. I love it.
And God bless. And first of all, I want to wish each and every one of you a happy Easter, a Passover, whatever you celebrate. The Greek Easter, it doesn't matter.
It is. You got to know. I got friends. I got Jewish friends. Trust me. I got Greek friends. I got Middle Eastern friends.
You say Greek? I love it.
Yeah. My godson is Middle Eastern, mom Pakistani, daddy's Indian. So trust me, yes.
Somehow that was gonna pop up. I know.
Yeah, you knew that was gonna pop up. But in all honesty, great work, guys. Really.
Joe, I just again, like I said to you the first time we talked about this, that Mania was the first place I thought about. I didn't even think about my own platform or nothing. I said, let me take this to Mania where families in the name.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, man. And like
we are.
And
Johnny, by the way, speaking about family, where's that beautiful granddaughter of yours?
She's with mom. Matter of fact, dad's on her way to pick her up now.
Oh, okay.
She's 2 hours from here. So dad drives an hour and mom drives an hour. They meet halfway, and and the kid.
I'm definitely one that's gonna pinch her cheeks. You know that. That's happening one way or the other, from New York to California to Nebraska. I don't care where it is. I am gonna pinch those cheeks.
Ahmad, real quick, when I was really down and out, we just moved in with my son, and I wasn't, doing any podcasting and everything. And I shared this with Johnny. I'm sitting in the living room, and here comes my granddaughter out, and she says, "Hey, Grandpa, we can clean off a spot on my desk, and you can start your show again. You want to do that?" And man, oh my God,
that's awesome.
Getting back into it, but I'm sitting at her desk that we cleared off, and it's a beautiful thing, man. And Joe, again, thank you for of course, okay and everything. I know it's a no-brainer, but we say it's a no-brainer, but it's still need to thank you for you and your platform, Ahmad, for you and your time that you spent, all the guests, Chef Nick, heavy stuff, Johnny, you
too, sharing yours, amazing.
Well, Victor, I just want to say that once you have your reopening show, would love to be a part of that, and I have an intro for you already. So
send me your email. I don't have your email yet.
You have my number?
My phone's off. I couldn't afford
Gotcha. I'll send you my email. Okay.
I thought right here.
Ahmad, is it okay if I give your number to all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Put us in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ahmad, would you do us a favor?
What's up?
Would you we do it live with a lot of our panel. Do you think you could give a shout out to the show with your name, saying you were on it, and just give a shout out to World Mania? I really appreciate that.
So NI World Mania?
No, just World Mania.
Oh,
That's
World
it.
Mania.
I was on World Mania, and because we have a lot of different shows, we do live baseball, basketball, football, wrestling.
Yeah.
We do it.
I'm a sports fan too. Y'all can have me on anytime, please, because I watch all that. Oh man, I'm football, baseball, basketball, wrestling, tennis, golf.
How's your wrestling?
My wrestling is good. We're
gonna do the 2 days of WrestleMania here, play by play.
Yeah, even though when I was 13 and my dad told me that it was fake, I was like, "What?
It's fake?
They're acting?
Now, wait a minute.
They're acting?" So that was because I was a kid. I was just so into it. I had Coco Beware, had Hulk Hogan. Those are my guys.
All right. Okay.
I watched Friday Night Main Event every Friday night main event. And one time we're sitting at breakfast on a Friday because I was getting ready that night. That's what I brought it up because I said, "Oh, it's Friday night main event tonight. I can't wait to watch. See what goes down with Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster did it." I had his poster. I had Coco Beware, British Bulldog posters in my room, and my dad said, "Boy, they faking out there." I was like, "I said, hold up. What you mean they faking?" He said they rehearse the moves and they know when the punches are coming. I'm like, oh. I said, Santa Claus in this? I said, y'all terrible. I said, y'all terrible.
Double whammy. There we go.
I'm like, y'all first you tell us about I figured out Santa Claus on my own too when I was 8. I figured it out. And then 13, when the whole curtain got pulled over my head about WWF, I was like, man, I thought it was going down. I was like, it is and it isn't. So, but no, I still watch it. I'm gonna actually go get the new game that just dropped, the WWE 26.
It's fire, man. Yep.
Yeah.
Same here. I don't want to just. I'm a low key. These guys don't know about it, but my guilty pleasure is to play games and also to clear your mind. So
you see where I'm at.
Yeah. So
I play this.
You should get connected with Amon to play gaming.
That's all I do.
Oh, I'm for it, man. I play on everything, so let's do it.
PC.
Why not another show? Just what I need. Another show. I mean, just pour it on. That's all. We have everything from cooking to wrestling to soap operas. You name it. I do it all.
There you go.
The Young and the Restless, baby. That's what that.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
You want to do the shout out for?
Oh yeah. So World Mania. That's what it is.
Yeah, World Mania.
You're listening to. Yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
So
just say that this is Amon Green, Green Bay Packer, former Green Bay Packer running back. I was live on World Mania on the mental health panel.
Okay. Hey, this is Amon Green Bay Packers all through. What?
Sorry. We all dropped down, right, Joe? First, and then
no, it's okay as long as we all shut up. No, just
okay. Yeah,
I'm gonna mute mine.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mute mine too.
Ready to go? All right. Hey, this is Amon Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and I just had a fantastic mental panel with the World Mania show. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to come back next time.
Thank you. That was really nice.
That was awesome, man.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
That was excellent. Yep.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
Soundboard stuff. Yes, sir. You got to have it. You ain't a talk show without it.
Well,
no question.
Guys. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You guys were awesome. And again, I want to give a big shout out to Victor, also Johnny Salami, Chef Nick, Joe.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Great name.
Also, Amon, obviously our client Amon, and then obviously Jordan, Adam. Adam, and then Nate. So thank you guys. And unfortunately, Chris can't join, but hopefully next time. So
and then to the chat, really, it says, I don't know, it says Billow 1286.
Yeah.
He said, by the way, on a lighter note, I hated Mr. Green when we were playing my Giants. I said, hey, was it Billow?
Giant, boo.
Billow 1286. Hey, that's what I tell everybody, especially Bear fans and Lions fans and Viking fans. It was business. It wasn't personal. It was business. I had to run the ball.
You didn't hurt my Cowboys too bad.
Hey, business, not personal.
Yeah,
Johnny. Hey, it's business. It's all business.
Sound like the Godfather.
Exactly. That's how it was. I told people, hey, look, I'm a different dude when I put that helmet on. I'm gonna be your best friend off the field, but on the field, if you're not wearing the same color as me, you might have a problem.
Look out.
Love it.
That's it.
That's why Amon was the all-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Congratulations, man. You're an inspiration to everyone, and thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it.
It's just a joy to have players on this show, and we can't thank you enough. We can't thank Nitin enough and his team to always put this together, and it just gets better. And I always say this was the best, and then there's always something that tops it. Well, this tops it again, so it just never ends. And but thank you, and we will call on you. That's for sure.
Call on me, please. I love it. And so now between Nick and whoever lives in New York.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm a foodie.
Oh, damn.
I've been to New York many
Hey,
me
I'm
and my
Staten
wife.
Islander. I'm a
Right.
Staten
Me and my
Islander.
wife, we did our 5th anniversary in New York City.
Really?
And
Nice.
it was all, we were Soho, we were Manhattan, we were all over the place, because we both foodies. So now my wife's a chef pretty much. So Nick,
Nice.
yeah, you got to show me.
Okay.
I got to taste some stuff one day when I get a chance to come to your restaurant. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Hell to the yeah. You damn
I
right.
am a foodie guy. I work out so I can eat.
Yeah. Same
good
here,
stuff.
brother.
I hear you. I hear you. Same.
Yeah, because the way my wife cooks cookies, cakes, cupcakes, fried chicken, brisket, everything,
God.
spaghetti,
Could you keep
go.
quiet now?
mustacholi, lasagna. Oh,
Let's go.
I'm like, I'm not playing football no more, right? I tell her that. I was like, look, I'm trying to be around like 210, about 205. I don't need to be 220 no more. She's trying to keep me at 220.
Oh man, that's wild. I love it.
Guys, I want to mention this. Stay tuned. We're actually working with his daughter also, Amani.
Oh yeah, Amani.
We're working on-
One of my older daughters. I have two 28-year-olds. They're not twins. They just married in. Angel, she's a doctor, and then Amani, she's a deputy sheriff. She works at a prison up in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then her sister and then other sister or other daughter is a child psychologist in Arizona.
Nice.
So at a clinic there. So she just got that job, got her master's, and got a promotion. So we're very
bless.
happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So super excited about that.
Yeah. All right, guys. This was awesome, man. This was
Yep.
this means a lot to me. And like I said, I'm going to save my story for the next one because I don't want to get emotional right now. And plus, we've been on for 2.5 hours. So, but
You don't even seem like it. Don't even seem
know,
like
right?
it. That's the good stuff. When it don't even seem like 2.5 hours, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, but this was, like I said, this was a special moment for everybody here, and we're gonna make this a good, a recurring thing. And Victor, like I said, shout out to you. You're amazing, and I don't know how you do it, but you're amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing your relaunch of the Third Floor podcast.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yep, we all are.
All right.
I am Katharina Michio, and you are watching YankeeMania.
I'm Kayla Welsh, and you're watching NY Yankee Mania.
Hi, my name is Maria Venuto, and you are watching New York Yankee Mania.
I'm Marnie Schneider. I'm the author of Football Freddy, and I am so excited to be part of the New York Yankee Mania show.
Hey, everybody, it's Ian Eagle. You are watching NY Yankee Mania, the best.